Good morning. Good morning. I'll be your captain today. Gonna have a few rough patches, a little bit of turbulence, some sunny skies here and there, but overall just be ready to be sitting down with the tray in the upright position, seatbelts on. I hope you're ready for a rip-roaring good time. Because either way you slice it, ladies and gentlemen, either way you want to call it, I think today is going to be a very, very fun stream. Dare I say, I mean, I don't want to set up, I shouldn't hype it up too much, you know. Let's just let it happen. But at the same time, I really do feel what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? What's the vibe? What's the thing? I don't know. I just know that it's going to be crazy. There's a lot of wild stuff to get into. We want to, of course, talk about the Marvels. Social media embargo is up. A lot of people are talking about it on social media. The official reviews drop, I believe. Chat, check me on this. I believe these drop at noon today. Am I wrong? Noon o'clock. It's about an hour from now. About an hour from now, unless I'm mistaken. That's when the official reviews come out. So it will be kind of cool to look at some of the reviews, talk about what some people are saying, and then watch as the actual Rotten Tomatoes score develops. And it'll be kind of interesting to see how it goes out the gate. So I have a lot of stuff to talk about with regards to that. On top of that, and this is really what I want to talk about, is all this Kevin Feige Star Wars stuff. And the retconning of the sequel trilogy. And the fact that I did these videos, and number one, everybody thinks I'm just crazy, okay? Throw a 1 into the chat if you think I'm just crazy. So people think I'm crazy, and that's like, damn, you know, because I'm actually like, and I'm going to talk about it today on stream. I'm keeping it a stack. I think it's real. I think it's really going to happen. And everybody's like, oh, Feige would never take over Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. Bro, did 2 videos about it last year when I heard about it. So we're going to talk about that. Also, does nobody know what an actual retcon is? Like, it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. I did this video yesterday, okay? Dave Filoni's going to retcon the sequels. And literally, all these people on Twitter, all these people in the comment section, they must not have watched the video. They cannot have actually watched the video and made some of the comments that they've made, because it's just so damn crazy. And I'm so, like, when I say retconning, and this is just one of the things we're going to go over today, so we're going to talk more about this in a little bit, okay? But when I say retconning, I am not talking about erasing the sequels from existence. And I know that's been a thing. I know there's people out there like, retcon the sequel, and then that's what they mean. They're like, oh, it's just retcon it so it never happened. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is something that will be put into the canon to help to further explain or give retroactive continuity to the events of the sequel trilogy. And man, this is one of those days where I'm going to try to keep it light, and I'm going to try to be entertained by it, because if I don't do that, I'm just going to get so triggered and so mad at how stupid a bunch of motherfuckers are. Oh my God. So instead, we're just going to kind of laugh at it, you know what I mean? And have fun with it, and just try to enjoy the absurdity of the discourse on the internet and what it's like. Welcome to Thunderdome. That's what it is on the internet. Holy shit. Okay, so we're going to talk about that as well. We also need to talk about and discuss, and I think it at great length, Zelda, a live action Zelda movie. And, the reason this is so interesting is because there's a lot of buzz, let's say, that the comic book movie genre may be coming to somewhat of an end. It might not be the biggest thing in town anymore. It might not be the craziest thing anymore. And some people think video game adaptations, video game movies, etc., will be the next big thing. They could be the next MCU, the next thing that takes the cultural zeitgeist by storm. And I think, by the way, that's actually a very real possibility. Some people, whatever, don't necessarily think it's possible. I think it's actually possible. And a live-action Zelda movie is, I think, it's going to decide the whole thing. Unfortunately, for better or worse, how that movie is perceived will either be the launch pad into this entirely new thing and the potential for this like really cool stuff to be happening, or immediately close the door on that and kind of decide that that's not really a thing. So I think it's a super big deal, actually. And Miyamoto himself came out on Twitter yesterday and said that he's been working on this with AV-ARAD for years, which is a whole thing because of AV-ARAD. And so, look, I want to talk about that. I want to get into the details from the article. I want to watch a video from, a hardcore Zelda fan and get their perspective and kind of bring in our perspective as well, because they're different things. I think a lot of video game people and people that are really into video games, that's their space. They know developers, writers, publishers, that space. But when it comes to movies and film, I just think there's maybe a gap of knowledge there where some of these people that love Zelda, dude, they don't know about AV-ARAD. And AV-ARAD, here's the thing. It's a checkered story, right? It's a checkered past. A lot of great stuff. Let's not mistake it. ARAD's involvement in the early MCU is actually pretty critical. His involvement in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, pretty critical. His involvement in Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, a big deal. They even give him a little credit thing, right, on Across the Spider-Verse. Do you guys remember that? They did a special thing in the credits for AV-ARAD. And a lot of us were like, oh, because he's also responsible for a lot of bad shit, a lot of whack productions, and a lot of just very stupid Hollywood ideas. Okay? So it's an interesting time with this development with the Zelda movie, because again, there's going to be a bunch of video games fans coming in, right? And for me, as somebody who's a comic book fan that then began to understand the Hollywood thing a little bit more because Hollywood was adapting the comic book stuff, it's going to be really interesting to see how that fandom reacts to some of this stuff. And I think that, their perspective is important and meaningful, but I think that we'll be able to bring some stuff to the table too that's cool to talk about and speculate about. I believe his name's Wes Ball, right? The director. Interesting guy, directed what are those? The Maze Runner movies. And didn't he direct another very popular movie as well? Yeah, interesting, man. Really interesting. And then some people on Discord were sharing images from a movie, some kind of fantasy or troll movie that dude was working on that he got killed. Oh, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Which one is that, by the way? Which one is that? I don't even remember. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a cool conversation to have, and so I want to linger on that as well. So I think it's gonna be a good stream, man. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff to get into today, and I'm pretty fired up and passionate about a lot of it as well, so that's cool. Show notes. First of all, just want to say thanks to everybody that popped into the Nerdventure stream yesterday. We had an awesome stream. We did call-ins with a lot of different folks. It's always great to do those streams, man. It feels very cathartic and very cool that we actually get to hear from people that really love the community, love what we're doing, and get a lot of value out of the streams and videos and just everything that we do together. So that was dope, man. I just want to give a lot of love to everybody that was there for that. Thank you, guys. We will be doing a Loki watch party tomorrow. I'm going to see the Marvels tomorrow, regardless of how the Rotten Tomatoes score shakes out later. I'm going to go see it. I got to see it for myself and, you know, make up my own mind about it. So I'll probably do like a quick video. Oh man, I should have touched my hair. Now I'm gonna be so I shouldn't have done it. Oh fuck, guys, it's a hair stream now. Somebody get me a brush and a swab for my sweat. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh no! Sorry. Don't come back. Come back. It's okay. I'll zoom out. It's okay. Everybody relax. So we'll do that tomorrow. I'll probably do like a quick little reaction video to turn it around. I gotta take this stupid thing off. It's too hot back here. The vibe's wrong. The vibe's wrong. Restart the stream. Chat. I don't like it. Let's take it from the top. Take it from the top. Oh yeah. What's up, everybody? I'll be your captain today. Buckle up. Turbulence. Okay. Damn, we're ADD today. This is gonna be a tough one for some of you guys to follow. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna do a quick little reaction video from the Marvels. You know, after I see it. Then later that night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll start the live stream for Loki. Season 2, Episode 6. Ooh, I'm excited for that one. It's going to be fun, man. And I think we're going to have a lot to talk about after that. And then Friday, we'll have a regular stream in the morning at 11. And there'll be a bunch of cool stuff that we'll be able to talk about, like the Marvels, Loki, a lot of fun stuff. So that'll be fun. And then that night at 7:30 p.m., we are also going to do a Diamond Lounge stream. First one we've done in a little bit. So that's going to be cool. Make sure to come on by for that one. Okay. All right. Did something happen to your hair before stream? What do you mean? I tried to make it look good. That happened before stream. Cold Dog, welcome back to the Nerd Avengers. Appreciate you, bro. Okay. Where to begin? Where to start? Should we just talk Captain Marvel, then talk about some of this other stuff, then we'll get the official reviews and everything at noon? Does that sound like a fair plan? Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. I don't think I have to kind of fully bring you up to speed on the context for the Marvels. And, for this film, I think we're all pretty aware of what's happening and what's going on. And strangely, a lot of people saw it yesterday, right? Like press, and they had like a little premiere thing, even though it was kind of understated because, of course, the actors are still on strike. And strangely, man, as the movie was coming out, I got a sense, and I don't know if some of you guys got a sense as well, that the movie was actually kind of cool, that people were kind of excited about some of the stuff that was in it. There was some buzz that started last night. And I didn't really look too far into it. I didn't think much about it. Okay, I did see it. And I thought to myself, as maybe some of you guys thought to yourselves as well, wow, what if it's actually pretty good? What if it's lit? What if it's dope? What if it's actually, like, really good? You know? I was like, oh, man, like, what if? And I started to, like, think about that, and I was like, oh, wouldn't that be so funny? If there was all this buzz, all this, like, you know, because part of the Variety article, which is like, wow, such a contentious thing, you know, such a contentious thing. By the way, I'm not going to name names, but some creators in the space literally blocked me after Friday. And I went into the Variety article and I started like breaking it down and just speaking my piece. I got blocked by some people. They were like, I don't like this nuanced take. Hater! You know? Anyway. So I thought to myself last night, wouldn't it be really funny if after all of that, and after the Variety article had said that the film was in big, big trouble, did all these different reshoots, turmoil on set, Nia DaCosta leaves, they did a screening in Texas, and everybody was like, it's mid, Feige! And he was like, damn it, you know, and try to fix it. After all of that, wouldn't it be funny if the movie was actually lit? And I started to like think about that, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. That would be kind of fun. Because I'll tell you this, if I enjoy the movie, I'm going to let y'all know that I enjoyed the movie. And if it were to be like a instant classic or something phenomenal, I would have got on top of the mountain and screamed that shit as loud as possible. Because number one, I like to stir the pot. There's a lot of people that already decided it sucks. A lot of haters. A lot of people that think it's pandering. And I would have absolutely been like, you know, just like I did with Barbie. Like, oh, I thought if it was woke, it would go broke. What's going on with Barbie, guys? It's not that I really care. It's that I'm an asshole. So I would have absolutely done that. I was prepared to do that. I'm still prepared to do it. But then, when I woke up this morning, I saw more reviews, and I spoke to some people behind the scenes. Oh, no. Oh, no. So I spoke to some people behind the scenes, and my perception changed very quickly. Now, if you look out online right now, I think there are a lot of people that sort of caught that first wave of buzz the same way that I did. Where they were like, yo, like this person seems to really like it. Oh shit, this person's really excited about it, etc., etc. And I think a lot of people that maybe want the film to succeed, which is like, yo, that's fine. That's cool. I mean, to be honest with you, I want the film to succeed. I guess. But the point is, I think a lot of those people saw that early buzz and they took it and ran with it. And they're now denying or trying to parry away or not accept that that initial pump of buzz is not a representative of how most people actually critically think of this movie. And I've heard some really ugly things behind the scenes. I think it would be interesting to maybe watch a couple of videos from some of these people. Christian Harloff made a video. John Roca made a video. There's a channel I'm not super familiar with, actually, that had like a lady make a video and a dude make a video. So they kind of gave their reactions. And again, I've spoken to some people behind the scenes. I can't really name names or say what they said exactly, but it doesn't look good, fam. It really doesn't look good. And I think at the end of the day, it's probably exactly what we think it is. And I think all the reporting has been accurate. You know, I mean, maybe the Nia DaCosta situation, you could make the argument that they really pinned it on her via that article, which I would argue is potentially even the studio, even though you'll never find that truth. It could be the studio doing that. And in that sense, sure, like I'm like, yeah, maybe Nia DaCosta is getting unfair hate because circumstances outside of her control made the movie absolute shit. Yeah, for sure, that could be argued. But in the sense that the movie's very troubled and that it was a hack job and that they've tried many different things to save it, I mean, to me, that's like obvious. And definitely true, you know? So I don't know. It's a weird one, man. I kind of went through a roller coaster ride of emotions. Now, from what I understand and what I've seen, because the post-credit scene, or I guess the mid-credit scene, is out there online. Like, I've seen the whole thing from multiple angles. It's dope, I think. I'm excited to see it in the theater. But, yeah, it's definitely cool. And I think there's some cool stuff probably in the movie itself. But I think overall, it's probably just like we thought it was going to be. Kind of mid. Kind of doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be. and therefore ends up settling on a bland version of like 3 different movies kind of meshed together. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to be surprised, and maybe when I see it, I will be surprised. Maybe I'll be like, yo, what is everybody talking about? This is incredible. You know, this is really dope. Maybe I'll come out on it and I'll be like, you know, it's better than I think people are saying, but definitely not great. But if it's of the level of like Quantumania or Thor Love and Thunder, if it's circling that pool, right? If that's the company it's in, I'm going to make the most scathing Marvel video I've ever made. Because frankly, you can't do this again, Marvel. If that's what it ends up being, we don't know for sure. But if that's what it ends up being, I'm going to just sit back and be like, yo, what the actual fuck? Stop doing this. You can't do this again. Because to me, Quantumania is, I mean, I've spoken about this a lot, but it is one of the worst pieces of absolute trash I've ever seen in my life. And I think it was either last week or a week before it, there was an article that came out suggesting that Marvel was shocked at how it performed and how it was rejected by audiences. And that is the most concerning shit I've ever heard about Marvel Studios, because that movie, oh my God, horrible. So we'll see, dude. You know, we'll see. I don't really know. I would love to be able to say, like, it's a step above Quantumania. It's a step above Thor Love and Thunder. And thank God. Because if it isn't, I'm taking the gloves off and I am going to be more brutal than I've ever been in a video about Marvel, because it's time. Because this is where we're at. Because they frankly cannot survive another one of these type of movies, if that's what it is. And to be fair, we don't really know for sure. Now, having said that, should we look at some? Let's look at some videos. We'll also look at some social media reactions from people as well. Because I've seen, like, I mean, man, I've seen some good. I've seen some really bad. I think Scott Mendelson went on like a tirade about this movie, essentially talking about how disappointed he is with Marvel because they've completely wasted Brie Larson's talent, wasted Nia DaCosta, and the movie is bad. And he feels like Marvel kind of hung them out to dry. You know what I mean? So let's look it up. The Marvels. Should we say review or something, I guess? Hey, look, we popped up. Probably not good. Okay, let's start with Christian Harloff's, man. I like Christian. OG in the space. I saw Can We Get Some Toast basically say, I don't care about Christian Harloff because he's a middle-aged white guy. Okay. So let's see what Christian Harloff had to say about Das Marvels. Here we go.
All right, this is the out of the theater reaction to the Marvels. If you're brand new to the channel, you've never been here before, do me a favor. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. Hit that button. We're about 1,000 away. Help us get us
By
there.
the way, real talk,
Right, so
go subscribe to Christian. If you're not subscribed to Christian, subscribe. In fact, am I subscribed to Christian? Boom. Subscribed. Seriously. Does great work. Boom.
this movie, I'm going to give you the positives first.
Okay. Give us the positives.
First. The positives
Yeah.
are that the team, the chemistry between the 3 actresses, the 3 characters.
Oh, he did hit on her?
Ms.
Okay.
Marvel,
Good for him.
I guess Professor Marvel, if you want to say Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel works really good.
Cool.
Kamala is so good. Kamala is so good in this role as the kind of like the Tom Holland type character. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of nice, man. And you know what's funny is, like, I had that feeling in her show, at least in the first couple of episodes, where I was like, man, she's genuinely incredibly charismatic. I really do care what happens to this character, and she lights up a room, and she's got this authenticity that's also a naive, kind of energy. And I really liked it. So I've always liked Iman, man, so it's cool to see that she carries that through into the film.
And then you've got the relationship between Carol and Monica. That emotional thread works. That's it.
Oh no.
This is a bad movie.
Oh
this
no.
Is a bad movie. Why? Because the writing is horrendous. It has no idea what it wants to be. This movie has no idea what it wants to be. It starts off so chaotic at one point, but then it starts to kind of fit into this mold of like, oh, okay, this is what it wants to do. It's forming this team between, and now we understand kind of where this is going. And then something happens, is what I'm going to say. No spoiler here. It's a bit. And the bit entirely almost ruins the movie.
That is so wild to me because, look, we're not going to do spoilers. We're not going to do spoilers. I don't want to talk about spoilers. But I think many of you know what this could be. And it's ironic because I had heard that they even cut down on this part. And it's like, whose idea was it to keep this shit in here? Right? Like, who was like, well, we can cut down on it, but I need this part of the film. You know what I mean? It's like, oh boy.
And then there's another bit that is just, it lost me because this movie has no clue. There's no plot. It really has no plot. And a forgettable villain. It's back to the Marvel movie of having a forgettable villain. This is not, I couldn't believe it. I was like, after a half an hour, I'm like, maybe it's going to start to move into something. And then it goes right to the floor.
Yo, okay.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it.
So unfortunately, not very good. But we still got these other movies coming out in the future. They're safe for the post-credit scene. I'll say that's safe for the post-credit scene. But this one's a miss. This is one of the, I don't know if it's Marvel's worst. I said that at one point.
Oh, no.
As I was going through, I said, no. Is it Marvel's worst? And then this bit happens, and I said, it's in the conversation.
No!
So that's it. That's my out of the theater reaction.
That's it.
This is the non-spoiler review. Embargo lifts tomorrow, so I'll have my full review, but this is just my immediate reaction. I'll see you later.
Cool, man. Cool. Look, good video, Petroleum. Okay, and by the way, that's only the first. There's a couple other ones we got to sit through. Now, okay, where to begin? Okay, I think maybe this is the time to say this. You guys all know Greg from The Real Rejects. Good guy. I like that Greg. And not just because he spoke positively about me on one of his streams recently, but I like Greg. So he made mention of the fact that this was the first time in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Marvel gave out tokens for free drinks for press that was going to see this movie. The first time in the history of Marvel that they were like, why don't you have a drink before you decide? Okay, so that's Christian's thoughts out the gate there. Let's see. There's got to be. Let me. There's a couple other ones I wanted to watch. Oh, Roca. Let's watch Roca's. Let's watch Roca, man. I like that music too. I like John Roca, man. We've talked to the DMs and whatnot. You know, I think we have some differences, of course, but I like that guy. All right, let's see what he has got to say.
Hey guys, it's the Outlaw John Roca, just coming out of the theater for the Marvels. Here's what I'll say to you. It's a fine film. It's certainly not...
Ooh, boy. When John Roca starts off by making that face and saying it's a fine film, buckle up.
Offensively bad.
It's not offensively bad. Hey, guys, it's not offensively bad.
For those of you who are waiting for this awesome film that bucked the trend and made people rethink their feelings about the movie, it just is fine. Certainly the chemistry between the three main Marvel actresses is fantastic. They're charming. They're really
interesting, man, because, you know, this is something Christian touched on as well. The chemistry between the three leads is really good. So it's like, damn, that's kind of interesting. Like, how could you fumble that? You know, like, it just seems so weird. If the chemistry's so good, if the characters work together so well, then like, what happened?
Really good together. The stuff with Kamala's family, when they pop in, the scenes they have are really good as well. But unfortunately, the film teases itself to be about so much more, and you get the motivation behind the villain and what she's trying to do, but it's let down, unfortunately, by a very uneven script, and then some swings that for me did work. Some of you might like it, but for me, it really did not work.
Yeah, so that's the thing. They're talking about these swings. Both of them have referred to this. Couple of different big, wacky swings that the movie takes, and it definitely did not land for them. Perhaps some of the people you're seeing online that are, like, loving the movie, maybe the swings work for them. Maybe those goofy aspects were, like, something they liked, you know, which is fair.
Maybe it was because of the way they led up to those moments that it didn't 100% work, but yeah, in the end, I was left kind of feeling like, it's a fine movie. And look, I'm one of these people that likes Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, and I feel like it's a damn crime that we've had 2 Captain Marvel films and they haven't been able to get it right for her and the level of work that she's bringing to the role. But
yeah, you know, and this is something that's like, it's so weird, man. It really does put me in a weird, precarious spot, because I know it's like, we try to keep it light here and we try to be, you know, very funny, and I try to be as authentic as possible. But there's like a side of this that's like, it really feels like it's Marvel's fault. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it really feels like it's Marvel's fault. And it feels like a little bit of the Variety article was trying to, like, obfuscate. And at the end of the day, man, I'm just getting this feeling of, like, this is 2 times in a row that Marvel has not just underutilized Brie, not just underutilized the character, but actually maybe either through neglect or through just being that bad at I don't know, supporting or cultivating, you know, the female character thing, that they have, like, kind of fucked her over, dude. Like, I literally think, yeah, it's the writers for sure. And we talked about this on Monday, right, when we were looking at Abby's videos. It's the writers for sure, but it's like Marvel's job to go in there and be like, this isn't working, like, let's fix this, like, let's change this, you know what I mean? So it's a weird feeling, man. It's a weird feeling to be here. And, you know, Ace Carwell actually does bring up a good point. And the question, I guess, is like, how much of this is on Brie Larson specifically as well? Because from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but from what I understand, a lot of the plot of the first movie and a lot of the things they want to portray about Carol, that was Brie. So it's kind of like it's hard to say. Because you think about it and you're like, how much of it was Brie being like, oh, I want to be this emotionalist badass that shits on men. You know what I mean? Like, how much of that was like coming in from her influence, and how much of it was actually like Marvel's intention, the writer's intention, etc. It's really hard to say, you know? But I will say, just sitting back and like, it's a weird thing, a lot of different emotions here. Because, of course, I love Marvel and I love Kevin Feige. Like, here's what's ironic. I don't know if Kevin Feige would, like, he might punch me in the face when he saw me. You know what I mean? Frankly. But the ironic part is I simp for that guy. Like, you guys know. You know, you've seen me in other settings. You saw me on the Valiant stream. You've seen me on Nerd Theory. You've seen me on these other things. I simp for Feige like nobody. Like, I think he's the greatest producer of all time, and I continue to believe that he single-handedly will be able to turn this whole thing around for Marvel. But I think we're at a point where I am kind of beginning to question some things, and the Miss Marvel thing is a big part of it, dude. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if you really want that character to succeed, if that's a high priority for you, then why are you not spending more time workshopping ideas? Why are you not, like, going all out on it? You know, there's not to get too deep into the spoilers and stuff. We're not going to go spoilers, guys. But it feels like there's a version of this movie that could have been way more popular, way more interesting, but like Feige just wasn't ready to let the audience have those toys yet. And you kind of know what I'm talking about if you've been like paying attention to it. And it's a damn shame, because I think Captain Marvel plays way better in that movie. She plays way better in that kind of a scenario than like in whatever this is, which, like, if you read the plot leaks from a year ago, you know exactly what's in this movie.
And the film rushes too quickly to all of its big points. You don't have enough time to savor things. You don't have enough background, enough information to really understand all the stuff that's happening. And you have to have watched a lot of the Disney Plus shows to really get some of the references that go on, for sure. So yeah, it's a fine film. Certainly not terrible, but it's gonna cause a lot of YouTube videos, so get ready for that. And
you're watching one of those YouTube videos right now, just so you know.
There is a cool final scene, and there is a mid-credit scene. There isn't a post-credit scene, so stick around for that. All right, that's my out of theater reaction for the Marvels.
Okay. Should we watch a couple more? Who else has dropped videos about this so far?
If you go see it, let me know what you think about it down.
Who else has dropped the vids yet on this? Here, maybe this will be a positive one. I actually have not seen this, dude. Just my opinion reviews. Should we watch this one? Sean Chandler did one? I like Sean. I like Sean. We watch his.
Guys, what it do? I'm at AMC Theaters. It's B. Avery with Just My Opinion Reviews.
What's up?
I am standing in front of the IMAX poster for the Marvels.
Yeah.
The 33rd film in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just got out of the screening, and here's my fresh out of the theater reaction, non-spoilers.
Give it to us.
I will go ahead and say this. Be honest with you guys. I'm not going to hold anything back, but it's not a bad film. I actually enjoyed it. I actually had a good time.
There you go.
It is something that I would not mind seeing again if a friend of mine was like, hey, how's that Marvel film, The Marvels? I want to go see it. You want to go with me? Sure. Is it something that I would go see by myself again? I wouldn't be rushing to the theater to see it again, but I wouldn't mind. But this film is better than the first one that came out in 2019, hands down. I think universally everybody is going to feel that way, that it's better than the first film.
Okay.
I think I want to say that it's better than Ant-Man 3.
Thank God!
Wasp: Quantumania. I want to say that.
It's gotta be, dude. It's gotta be for me. It's gotta be, Chad.
Superior in one aspect that I felt this film was a bit weaker in, but overall, I think I would rather watch the Marvels over Ant-Man 3 or Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I would also rather watch this film over. Do I want to say? I think I want to say that it's better than Thor: Love and Thunder 2.
Okay, that's a big deal. That's good. You know what I mean? That's good.
Thor 4. So there you go, right there. Now, this is not better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay.
That film is superior than this one, but I had a good time with this. It's not perfect. It is very lighthearted and funny, and I won't get into any specifics. But I cannot believe I almost forgot to talk about this. We gotta talk about the mid-credit scene. Now, there's only one. There is not one at the very end.
I'll stop it if he goes into spoilers.
There's no stinger. But the mid-credit scene. Let me put my drink down real quick.
Uh-oh, he's got to put his drink down, dude. You know?
We can have this discussion. Of course, I'm not going to spoil it, but when it first came on, I was like, oh, what is going on here? What are they trying to do? And then I said to myself, oh, shit. Wow. This is kind of huge. And I got excited, and I started thinking about every direction that they could take it. And initially, I was saying to myself, I think this is the direction that all Marvel fans want the MCU to go.
Yes.
As far as overall.
Yes.
However, when I calmed down from my initial shock and excitement, I did say to myself, wait a minute. The last time I hyped this up like this, it ended up being a fart in the wind. Now, I don't want to tell you what movie or a Disney Plus show or whatever, but they are expanding the horizon big time as far as the MCU is concerned. I want to say...
You know what's funny is, like, I know the full context of what he's talking about here, and I'd love to, like, go in for it. By the way, I have a big video coming out today that's going to spoil it all and talk about all the spoilers. We were planning this video yesterday, and we already knew what everything was, but now I've seen it, and I know a little bit more. So the video's about this mid-credit scene in the Marvels and the ending of Loki season 2, and it's about how that's going to fit together and expand into the MCU. And it's really we don't know everything, especially with regards to the end of Loki, but it's going to get nuts. It's going to get nuts. And so look out for that video later, because I know exactly what he's talking about here, and I want to address it, but I have to address it in a video. But yeah, he seems to like the movie.
Is this as far as repercussions go, is this the biggest mid-credit scene as far as stakes? Yeah, I mean, it could end up great, or it could suck. Because I just got to be honest, y'all, the track record for Marvel hasn't been the greatest.
That's true.
And they have hyped us up before and let us down. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And so this could be awesome. I'm excited and I'm nervous.
Sure.
Because like I said, it could be awesome, but they could mess it up.
And my thing is, they should have made the mid-credit scene the movie. Like, the movie should have just been that. You know what I mean? But whatever.
They could mess it up. And I cannot wait to talk about it more with you guys. So that's going to wrap it up for my fresh out of the theater.
Cool. Okay, so we got Sean Chandler. Let's watch Sean's video. And then is there anybody else y'all want to watch? Let me see if I can get
reaction for the Marvel.
Get Sean pulled up here. That was nice, though. He kind of liked it, huh? Let's see what Sean's got to say.
The Marvels.
Yeah.
The Marvels.
Yeah.
So, it's coming out this week, and currently it's tracking to open. Its pre-sale tracking is lower than Black Adam and The Flash, which means it's looking to open at like 50 million opening weekend. Current tracking can be wrong. Sometimes people's
go up,
behavior
could go
is
down.
unpredictable. Currently, based off the way we measure these things, it looks like it's going to be less than The Flash. Not good. And I've done videos talking about that already. I think they took too long to do a sequel to Captain Marvel that made over $1 billion. Now, people, it made $1 billion because it was right before Endgame, but there was momentum that went with that. But time hasn't been the friendliest to it. And then adding to that, Captain Marvel's barely shown up in anything.
True.
For a while.
Post-credit scene of Shang-Chi.
You think between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2
That's it.
and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the Guardians showed up in Infinity War, made a little bit of money. Endgame, made even a little bit more money. Thor Love and Thunder, and a holiday special. So there might have been way too many years between projects, but 4 things between there that kind of kept them on your mind. There's like cameos for Captain Marvel. But it's also a sequel to 2 different things.
Yeah.
Or 3 things. Captain Marvel, spin-off from WandaVision, and sequel to Miss Marvel. So there's a whole bunch of homework people need to do. And Miss Marvel, one of the lesser viewed shows. And WandaVision was almost 3 years ago.
Dude, right?
And you don't leave it thinking about Rambeau. She's not the character that you're thinking about 3 years.
I mean, I kind of was. You know what I mean? Like, I said this before, and I don't know how true this is for a lot of fans, but Monica was a standout to me in that show. She's genuinely one of the best parts of the show, which to me was like, maybe that's why they brought her and did more with her, because I felt like she had some really cool moments waking up from the blip and all that sort of stuff. Like, they gave her a lot of cool stuff. I just liked the performance. It was, Monica has this almost... it's like almost childishness to her. Like, it was kind of hard to explain, but there was just something really compelling about that character in that setting where everything's either so serious or so seriously fake. So, yeah, I like the character for sure. But I think it's also fair to say that, like, that was 3 years ago, dude. And I would say 3 years later, how many people are still thinking about Monica? I'm not sure.
Years later when it comes to that project. If this had happened right afterwards, it would have still been fresh on people's mind. But it's not. And so it just feels like there's a lot of homework you need to do going into this movie. But the production has been troubled on multiple levels, where there was a lot of reshoots, reworking the film. It wasn't coming together. They actually, the Marvel rarely does test screenings. Like sometimes in my videos, I talk about how I know a guy that goes to test screenings. Never for a Marvel movie. They actually did it.
So the thing is, Marvel actually does do a lot of test screenings, but it's all friends and family or studio people. So it's all just people that work at Disney and their families. And, I've said this before or whatever. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I think it might be true. I think most of the anonymous scoopers that are, like, actually getting things right, I think they're literally just the kids of, like, executives. And Variety almost hinted at that too when they did it. They put it in the article last week that even the kids of executives that had seen the movie were complaining about certain aspects of it. So he's right and he's wrong, because, like, they don't do a lot of public test screenings, but they actually do a ton of test screenings. That's why there's so many leaks at Marvel. Star Wars doesn't do that. That's why, like, when Ahsoka was coming out, we had some information, we had some leaks, but we didn't know for sure because they didn't screen that. They didn't screen it to test it. Maybe they should have, but...
Test screening in Dallas for this movie. I actually knew that because when I went to go see The Exorcist Believer, I saw it in Dallas, and someone there recognized me, so I ended up talking to the guy before the movie started, and he was one of the people at the test screening. For what it's worth, this guy that I... doesn't mean too much. I can't speak to his taste in films. He said it's better than Captain Marvel. That was his evaluation of the film.
Cool.
Make of that what you will. I don't know how much it means. But they did a test screening. The article says that's true. They did a test screening because they were trying to figure out what was working and what wasn't, because the movie's not as strong as they hoped. And then the article says this. Then eyebrows were raised again when DaCosta, that's the director, began working on another film while The Marvels was still in post-production. The filmmaker moved to London earlier this year to begin prepping for her Tessa Thompson drama, Head Up. A representative for DaCosta declined to comment. If you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go, a source familiar with the production says.
Yeah.
So, Marvel's isn't getting the buzz they're wanting, doing lots of reshoots. They're trying to fix it. And the director leaves to go to London to start prepping her next.
Now, for all fairness, and I should double check to make sure he doesn't put the actual comments in here.
Now, there's a lot of people running with this.
Okay, because she actually addressed this, and I thought she did a pretty good job of addressing it, to be honest. And Marvel probably coached her up, too, and gave her some advice on this. But, I mean, guys, it's true. She left. Now, her explanation was that they had moved the date 4 different times. She had this other obligation. And most importantly, Marvel had a clear-cut idea of where they were taking the movie. They knew what the vision was, and so it was fine. Unless I missed it, she was not actually working on the movie remotely. Maybe she would look at dailies or something like that, but as far as I understand it, in the interviews where she clarified this, she absolutely left. Marvel essentially took over and brought it home. Okay? Now, I know a lot of this stuff is controversial and people get really fired up about it and getting upset. At the end of the day, I think all it really speaks to... Oh, yeah, toxic. We're going to talk about that, brother. Actually, I got a whole thing to say. That's the back half of the stream, bro, because I'm fired up about this Feige Star Wars news, man. I'm fired up about it. But all this really means is that a lot of the rumors we had heard, and even the stuff that was in the Variety article, is likely true. This is a movie that was plagued by it couldn't find itself. And they've been working on it for years. So many different test screenings, so many different adjustments made to the movie. And if you listen to like Christian's and Roka's review, it all makes sense to me. Like, none of this is surprising. Like, it just seems like, yeah, it was a sloppy thing. They couldn't quite figure it out. And then they kind of putzed around, made it as good as they can, and then released it. And we're about to live through and see what that's going to be like. But at the end of the day, like, I know it's a controversial story, but like that doesn't mean I'm going to try to tell you something I don't think is true. Like, I don't think anything was debunked. I think she left the project, and I do think that's pretty weird.
Quote, and they're having it, using it to suggest things it doesn't actually suggest. So there's a lot of people taking this saying, oh, she fled the production. She wasn't involved anymore. She knew it was bad, so she left. That's not what was said.
That's not what was said, but technically still possibly what happened. You know what I mean?
People have made it very clear. She's still part of the process. She just moved to London. Other people pointed out a lot of movies in post-production are done via Zoom. There's a lot of divisions that kind of work on other things. So if you're seeing people running with stories, Nia DaCosta running she's abandoning the ship. That's not what this is saying. That's not.
I don't think that's what it was saying. I don't think it's what it was ever said. I think it's more that the production was bad, and really, again, I think that speaks more to Marvel than it does Nia DaCosta.
Not uncommon for a director to leave a project in post-production to start
Oh, wait a
working on
minute.
another
You know what? He's not even talking about the movie here, is he? This isn't the review. Am I crazy, or is this not the review? Because we're like 2/3 of the way through the movie. I think he's just talking about the article. God damn it. Is this why you guys were saying check his shorts? Cool. Cool story, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for helping me out here. Okay, which one? Where's the Miss Marvel one in the shorts? Oh, this is Sean Chandler Plus. Hang on, guys. What? You don't have your channels here, bro? What's happening? This is the one Sean Chandler talks about, right?
Hi, my name is Sean Chandler.
Okay. All right. Everybody relax.
From watching the Marvels.
Everybody stop
I went
panicking.
into it expecting it to be an odd mix because it is a sequel to Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and that's very much what this movie feels like. It's 4 or 5 movies mashed together, and a couple of those movies I actually really enjoyed. When it's season 2 of Miss Marvel, it's a ton of fun.
Cool.
But then it also tries to be Captain Marvel 3. If I said that right. It feels like it's the sequel to a Captain Marvel movie we haven't seen that's the foundation of so much of the story. Miss Marvel, she's great. Captain Marvel, this movie does not do her any favors. The tone is all over the place. I was able to bring my 9-year-old daughter with me. Here's what she had to say.
I really like the movie because it has a bunch of my favorite Marvel characters combined all into one. It has just the right amount of silliness. It's not too silly, and I really liked it.
There
That's
are
cool.
things in here I enjoyed. There's also a lot of things that are super duper messy. So we just got out of the theater from watching.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Like I said, that's his reaction to it, and that's what we were looking for. We found it on the first try. Excellent. Okay, cool. Who else? Who else should we talk about? Should we see what some of these people are saying on Twitter? Here, check this out. The Marvels. Okay, let's check this out. By the way, that is Tom Hiddleston's wife. Kind of interesting, huh? The Marvels is good. Kamala Khan is a delight. So there you go. Ryan Airy likes it. Ryan Airy thinks it's good. Oh, wait. You know what? We should not do this. We should not do this because the post-credit scene will come up. Hang on. Oh, boy. Okay. We should not do that. It was literally right there. Good catch. Good catch on my part. Okay. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's keep going. Let's try to see Marvel's out trying to shut him down and everything. Okay, you know what? Let's check this review out. This is from Rachel Leishman? Sorry, I can't pronounce shit, Rachel. My bad. So let's check this out. The Marvels is so much fun. Action-packed goodness, but genuinely hilarious and exciting to watch from start to finish. I love my girls so much, and seeing them fight all three together is truly special. Higher, faster, further, faster, baby. Cool. So there you go. Positive review. Seemingly positive review number 2. So there you go. You know, just because everybody will be like, you only brought up the negative ones. Not true. Not true. Let's see. Let's find a couple other ones here. A lot of people trying to spoil that post-credit scene, right? Yeah, there's a lot of people that are talking positively about it. You know what I mean? People saying Iman's like a standout. People saying they love the chemistry of them together. So there is a lot of positive stuff on here, you know? The problem is, like, I guess for me, it's like, I want to believe that there are authentically people that are enjoying the movie and that's great. There's a part of me that's like, man, if this is some of that energy where like people are like, can we get some toast that are like, I don't care about Christian Harloff because he's like a middle-aged white guy, or like some of that energy of people that are like, oh, the incels and the neckbeards or the bigots are gonna, get it, and they're so wrong, and some of that energy. It's like I don't think that's that authentic. In the same way that you get people that already decided that they hated it and that it was pandering woke trash. That's it. That it's like we always say, man. It's the same group of people, just with different on different sides of that, because they've already decided how they feel about it, and they just want to like defend their side and narrative, right? So it's a little bit weird for me because some of these reviews, I'm like, you sure about that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But of course, people are free to feel however they feel about it, and also that's a valid way to enjoy your entertainment. It's not how I enjoy my entertainment, but if you enjoy your entertainment based on, whatever, that's valid. That's fine too. But it just means that you probably aren't a sort of North Star for me as a fan who's just looking to see if it's good. I don't really care, if it like makes you feel hoorah or it makes you feel like, So it's a weird one to try to like sift through some of this stuff. Let's keep going though. Wow, a lot of here's an interesting one from Kristen Maldondo. Says the Marvels are the most fun I've had watching a superhero movie in a while. It's hilarious, action-packed, and full of girl power. Kamala was a standout, and so many moments surprised me. There was a great balance of the team while dropping shocking bombs that will change everything. Bob's your uncle. Fair. If that's like the shit you're into and the shit you like I'm all about it. I do actually want to watch this. So let me pull this up in a... Hang on. I want to watch this together because I think it's like pretty awkward. But let's keep going. Let's try to find a couple of shit. So I know I think Eric Davis liked the movie. He told me last week he would like it no matter what anyway, but still worth talking about. Let's see what he said. Nia DaCosta's The Marvels is a great time at the movies. It's well-paced and full of frantic, hilarious energy. I even liked it more than 2019's Captain Marvel. This thing moves. The location swap action is a blast, and the end credit scene is mind-blowing. I'm definitely a fan. Iman Vellani really does steal the movie, too. She does a good job adding the wide-eyed, holy cow humor to the story. I think that's probably true. It reminded me at times of Spider-Man's trope. Yeah, a lot of people bring that up. Solid surprises, strong cast chemistry, unique action sequences, lots of flirkins, and a light, breezy runtime. An MCU win in my book. Cool. All fair play to you, man. That is a take. Okay, let's keep going. I want to try to find Scott Mendelsohn's stuff, but I actually feel like he might have deleted it. Maybe I can find it this way. And I know I don't have everything popped up on screen for you guys right now. I'm trying not to spoil the post-credit scene, okay? So I don't know if this is even true. Somebody fact check me on this in the chat, but somebody sent this to me. They said this movie opened in theaters today in South Korea. This is the worst audience response in the history of their cinema, at like a 49%. I mean, all right. I don't really know what that means. We'll see. We'll see how other cultures look at it. But I did think, I was like, that's interesting. Okay, here we go. Scott Manzel, who went off on this movie. Let's check this out. Okay. Scott Manzel says, The Marvels is such a disjointed mess. It feels like there are countless scenes missing from the film. Characters appear and disappear without much explanation. Energy levels are high, but so much of this film is way too childish for its own good. It feels like a Disney Plus movie. And that's like, damn. Like, that's rough. And then he goes on to say, I'm just going to say it because I'm super annoyed. Brie Larson is an incredible actress who won an Oscar. Marvel did her dirty. And you know what else? They did Nia DaCosta dirty too. These two incredibly talented women deserve a much better movie than The Marvels. This felt like it was made in a factory and was spliced together by AI. Is Iman Vellani full of energy and fun? Sure, but I already saw her do this in Miss Marvel, which is far more charming and entertaining than this film. I enjoyed the first film, but this was such a massive disappointment. And like, that is crazy, bro. Like, that is a strong rebutting of this movie. The trades just dropped their reviews. Excellent news. Okay, cool. Let me see. Maybe that's popping up in my timeline. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of funny. So what would I do? Just like search Variety and stuff like that? I mean, maybe we just wait. Maybe we wait for the Rotten Tomato score. When do those start coming in? I love musicals, yet when I first heard of Xena and Buffy would have musical episodes, I was on the fence. They ended up being really good, so I will wait to see it. Yeah, and I think musicals definitely have an audience. My wife loves musicals. Like, I went to my first musical ever because of her, and I actually thought it was fun. Okay, E-Man. E-Man! E-Man is a very unbiased dude. Let's see what he's got to say. Hang on.
Listen, some people are going to say it's a fun movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is for everybody. I definitely could see my young daughter enjoying this.
Cool.
It's definitely a mixed bag. There are some chuckles. There's some good action.
I like to chuckle.
I'm not going to lie. There was a couple moments where I was like, what are we doing? Guys, what are we doing? Did we not learn from Thor Love and Thunder?
Oh, no!
Just being honest. That's... but outside of that, you know what I'm saying? Like... Yeah, I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but I do think that the people that are attracted to this film, that are attracted to this tone, will enjoy it.
Cool.
Is it worth watching? You know what? If you come in here not expecting it to be too serious, I think you'll have a better time.
There you go.
Make of that whatever you will. What's up, everybody?
Shit.
It's E-Man from
Let's
E-Man
watch that
Movie
again.
Reviews. You already see what it is. That's right, coming out of the Marvels. I got to say that, listen, some people are going to say it's a fun movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is for everybody.
Yo, real talk, chat. What's your early predictions for the RT score by the end of the day? And also, smash a goddamn like, all you freaking buttholes. What is your prediction for an RT score by the end of the day? Dan Merle dropped his reviews. Let's go. I love Dan Merle. By the way, Dan Merle, incredible videos about charts. Man, he did a really cool video the other day. We talked about it on the Discord a little bit. He did a great video breaking down the charts for all the Disney Plus shows, the Star Wars shows and the Marvel shows. If you want, like, you know, because I talk about this stuff, but then I kind of scream and make funny jokes and tell everybody they're wrong. So, like, you know, it's not necessarily all just info. It's a little entertainment. But go check out Dan's stuff, man. If you want to know what's going on, like, check out that video. It's really good. So yeah, I'm gonna get, guys. Oh, it's hard to say here. I think it's gonna be in the 40s. I think just the vibe I'm getting, and maybe I'm wrong, because, you know, it's funny. We've been on like a journey with Marvel Studios where it used to be the case that you'd get glowing reviews no matter what from Marvel folk. The early response, right? And then, like, you'd go to see the movie and you'd be like, yeah, no, that was dope, you know? And then there started to be this thing where Marvel reviews would be glowing and you'd go see the movie and you're like, I don't really know. And then we kind of like hit this reverse mode where the reviews started being like super, super bad. Like, so for instance, the reviews of Multiverse of Madness, and I know some of you guys are like, Multiverse of Madness is a masterpiece. I will die on that hill, by the way. Someday, random ADD thought here, someday I'm going to do a stream with Paul from Heavy Spoilers, and we're just going to literally sit here and gush about Multiverse of Madness for like 2+ hours, because we both love that movie, and we just think all you guys are crazy that don't agree. But regardless of that, the point is, we've gone from a place where the reviews are good no matter what, to now I'm not so sure. Like, I think Secret Invasion sucks. I felt like the reviews were out of pocket. They were, the show is not that bad, but it is bad. So now we might be in this place where we're getting all these early reactions that are really negative, And it's like, okay, but is it really that bad? Is this going to be like a 60, 70%? Because that would be great. A 60, 70% for this movie, I think would be cool. But I'm getting the feeling personally that this is going to be in the 40%. I think this is going to be a huge stinker. And I think there is a measure of softening of how bad it is because of the perceived toxicity of this discussion and the conversations around Brie. And I just wonder, is that softness going to also translate to the RT reviews? Or is it going to be one of those things where, you know, they let you down softly on social media and then they're like rotten? I don't really know. We're gonna have to see. It's kind of interesting. All right, let's see. Well, we've already done this one. What were you guys saying? Real Rejects and Dan, right? Real Rejects and Dan? Let's check it out. Uh-oh.
What is going on there? You know, guys, this is the first MCU press screening I've ever been to where they actually gave the audience a free alcoholic beverage.
Oh, that's
and
probably
you know what
good.
that usually means for anyone who's been to plenty of press screenings. When they're throwing in free alcohol, you know how the studio really feels about what they got on their hands. What is going on there, citizens of the Reject Nation?
Okay, Marvel, after you blacklist Greg and them, you know what? I just want to say I'm really good at shilling and pretending. And I think the Marvels is great. I haven't seen it yet, but I love the chemistry and it's full of girl power and it's excellent. So as you're crossing all of these people's names off of your list, just, you know, think about me.
Greg and John here today. We just watched the Marvels. Burbank is quite serious about any kind of recording, so we're gonna have to keep this quick, and I'm glad we do, because I'm gonna be very, very direct with you guys.
Oh, no.
Leave a like on this video if you dare to. John, quickly give them the plot if there is one.
That's an easy task. Hey, look, there's this Kree warrior who's real mad about the events of Captain Marvel. So she's searching out, various means of extracting revenge. Let's just put it that way. Meanwhile, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau, they all discover that their powers are interlinked somehow. All those circumstances intertwined to where they got to figure out what this weird power switching thing is and how to stop the villain. That's kind of what it's about.
Oh, cool.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to give you guys some quick thoughts here. Iman Vellani is easily the best part of this whole movie.
That's great.
To me. I thought that might be the case before watching this film. Sure enough, she is. She steals every scene she's in. I like the appearance from her family that is laced throughout this entire film as well. I thought they were great. John, did you like Iman Vellani?
Very much so, definitely.
She's great, right?
Yep, she is terrific.
Brie Larson, boy, have they made her relatable. She's relatable.
Cracking wise. She's having some fun. She's lightened up a bit.
I really liked Brie Larson individually quite a bit. Her
Cool.
personality, I thought she was much more appealing this time around.
That's actually good.
Quite enjoyed all three of them
Yes.
in this, at least individually and oftentimes together. And Tiana Paris is another terrific actor. You know, she's doing good stuff with what they're giving her.
Yes, I would say that too. And the movie occasionally has some cool visuals. Occasionally there's some cool action scenes. I don't know about a whole scene, but there'll be moments within the action. Like there's this whole thing where whenever they use their powers, they're switching spots with each other. And sometimes there's some really cool choreography that happens there.
That is the word that came to mind watching it. I was like, there is some cool, inventive choreography here. And I thought generally when it gave way to an action scene, which are often the scenes the movie lets breathe the most, you know, there's some pretty punchy stuff in there.
The music is occasionally good.
It's much brighter in tone than I'm used to from an MCU.
Oh, man.
There were times where I'm like, oh, we're going lighter, we're going more triumphant, we're going something that
What did Roka say? He's like, it's not offensively bad. Is that what he said?
reminds me more of, I don't know why Danny Elfman, but kind of.
Listen, guys, when this movie was done, Coy was sitting next to me, and everyone knows Coy is the guy who's the most forgiving of the MCU. He looked at me, and I don't want to just give away his review. I'm going to say it right now, though, because I could not agree more. He said, this is not what Marvel needs right now.
Yep.
Fair.
Oh, boy. This is not what Marvel needs right now. Is not what you want to hear. And they might be right. 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 They might And they might be right. And you know what's funny? A lot of people give me shit because I'm like, cancel it. Cancel it. Cancel it, you know? Because to me, if you just keep producing crap, right? You're going to get to a point where it doesn't matter the quality anymore. And we're almost already there. Because Loki season 2 is dope. I know it's very heady. The actual audience scores are much lower than they were in the first season. So I know it's confusing. We haven't really got anywhere yet in the show, but it's good. Like, it's good. Can't say, to me, it's not like bad. It's not crap. It's good. Ahsoka was good. Not great. About half the episodes, not doing it. But that middle stretch, great. But like, Ahsoka viewership way down. Loki viewership way down. This movie, maybe the lowest box office gross in the entire MCU. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But to me, like, you can't just keep doing that. And it is literally worth just canceling some shit. Because, again, a lot of signs point to them knowing what they had with this movie. You know what I mean? And I think that's, like, exactly right. Like, this is not what Marvel needs right now. Scary thing, but real. Like, that's as real as it gets. That's the whole... I should have just named the stream that. You know? Like, that feels poignant. Anyway.
Really tried to like this movie. The first, I'd say 20 to 30 minutes of it, I was like, all right, it's edited a little weird, paced a little funny. It looks like a TV show, but yeah, I'm having fun. It's messy, but I'm having fun. But then eventually, for me, seems like you're a lot nicer about it than me, and I'm totally okay with that. I don't want to rain anyone's parade. We went to a screening where there's a mixed bag there. There's a lot of people who really liked it, and good for you if you really like it. For me, I think this is one of the worst MCU movies that they have ever done. And I was really trying because I think these three actresses, while great, they deserved a much better movie than this. And sure, is there an end credit scene and a post credit scene that is so important to the future of the MCU? Absolutely. And I would advise not letting the importance of what it is setting up dissuade you into thinking that what you just watched is a great film. Because
yeah, that's a great point.
It's not. In fact, there are things about the post-credit scene that actively, I buried my head, and again, I think I said out loud, like, I can't believe there's one choice they make about it where I could not believe that they did it. In the post-credit scene specifically, the movie itself, I thought was terribly edited throughout, terribly paced. I felt nothing. I thought
so that's like a problem, right? And look, again, we're doing the gambit here. We're trying to get the full picture, but I will tell you that's really scary to hear because it reminds me I'm having PTSD to Quantumania because Quantumania was one of the worst edited movies I've ever seen. There are edits in that movie that made me want to run out of the theater and demand my money back. Like, it was fucking awful. Like, just fundamental rules broken. Just horrible editing. And the reality is that's the best version of it. And it's because they just workshopped it and Frankensteined it to the point where, like, it doesn't even really resemble a movie anymore. And it's less important that the individual scene makes sense to the user and more important that we actually just get to the next thing we're trying to do. And that idea of feeling nothing, oh man, that really rings true because Quantumania was like, it was a really weird experience for me. Like, I've never felt like that with a Marvel movie before. Even Love and Thunder, I was like, wow, this is bad. But I didn't, like, I still enjoyed aspects of it. I was still, like, ready to see where it was going. Quantumania was a movie that I was so angry at because I felt like it was just trash. Like, I don't know how to also explain it. It got to a point where I'm sitting there actively hating the movie, and I couldn't fucking believe it. And I'm pretty sure most of the time, like, when I go to the movies with Elisa, I usually like to, like, hear what she says first, because I will just go, you know, and I'll just be like, blah, 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 blah. But I'm pretty sure I didn't even leave the theater before I was like, it's trash, you know, and just, like, freaking out. And I'm telling you guys, I really hope that I don't personally feel as though it is that same level of movie. But like Marvel Studios, if you open up a year with a movie like Quantumania and you close out a movie like this, you deserve to fail. If it's that bad, you deserve to fail. You deserve all of the egg that will be on your face. You deserve all the hater videos that are coming. You deserve all the MCU is dying videos that are coming. You deserve it all because you cannot do that. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? You think you can put up goobly glob horse shit in slot A and in slot C, and we're just gonna fucking eat it and get ready for the next meal? That's absurd. So, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean? I'm going to see it tomorrow. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But like I said at the top of the screen of the stream, I will make my most scathing Marvel video of all time if this movie is as bad as Quantumania. I hope it's not. Let's keep going.
Movie was in a rush to finish. Like, Rich is
a rush to do anything it sets its mind to.
It goes in and out of scenes that are supposed to have emotion. John was on my right, Corey's on the left. I would turn and be like, what is happening right now? Like, why are they just like speeding through it? I think it is the worst comic book movie I have seen all year. I don't like the first Captain Marvel movie. That one at least feels like an actual movie. This felt like they took an entire season's worth of a Disney Plus show, crammed it into 2.5 hours, and then said 2.5 hours is too long. We got to trim it down to 1 hour and 40 minutes. I do not think this is a good movie. And I'm not apologizing for it. It's not a good movie. Great actors in it, some good action. Samuel L. Jackson looks bored as shit. Does not feel like the performance carrying over from Secret Invasion whatsoever.
I mean, I can abide a lighter tone.
Greg Unleashed!
Even lack of continuity from characterization.
They thought the drinks were a good idea. Marvel Studios, you might want to rethink that shit. My God.
Comic books will do that. But yeah, it's a bit disconcerting the way they handle Nick Fury throughout.
A lot of the comedy is done through this like lackadaisical, we don't really care kind of attitude.
Very that casual, like, well, that's kind of weird sort of comedy, yeah.
Marvel released this trailer, the final one for the Marvels. It is not that tone. I guarantee you there are some scenes in this movie that are some of the cheesiest, cringiest scenes you will ever see in any of the MCU. And I feel so bad for what some of these actors are going to be going through because of the movie they deliver when it is not their fault. They're great and they're giving it their all. And I really fucking mean that. It's weird and messy at times. It gets to a point where like, I think it's maybe intentional. I can see someone surrendering to the mess and just going, whatever, I'm having fun with it.
It's a fantasy.
It's a chaos. I feel like I got to say something nice. There's some cat stuff in it. I'm a cat lover. Look, I've chalked up a lot of movies of my experience of going like, yeah, it's messy and whatever, but I had fun. This is one of those experiences where the mess just overrode the fun for me. John, please say nice things because you're on a much higher note than I am about it, all right?
Yes, I mean, I was having some kind of a blast throughout a lot of this movie. It certainly is all over the place. It is a very much and then kind of a plot where just random things will pop up, and they don't really give much time to pay attention to them. However, the color and the levity of everything and the sort of bounciness had me enjoying myself for a good amount of it. There is a crossroads I think you will come to as a viewer depending on how much that enjoyment is bolstering your experience, where it may kind of plateau and sort of drop off for you, or it'll start to make you mad. I am in the camp where I was always kind of pleasantly enjoying it, sometimes genuinely, sometimes sort of in spite of the strange cacophony this movie becomes. I don't begrudge a Marvel movie feeling a bit like a cartoon, a bit disconnected in terms of like the immediacy of the continuity. Stuff like that is cool when it happens, but I'm not hanging on that.
Greg is fuming still. You can see it. Like inside his head, he just wants to be like, it's like a WWE match. And he's like, get him with the fucking chair. Like, no, shit was whack. Like, you know what I mean? It's very funny. Very funny.
Like, cool. As long as this is a fun, colorful sort of bonding experience with just enough stakes, I'm happy. The trouble for me is that you don't really get much chance to latch onto this.
See, I fucking told you. I fucking told you, man. Shit. Hey, look, either way, we're having fun. Marvel, the sky is falling. The building is on fire. We're still having fun.
No, for sure. Like, I thought, I'm blanking on the actress's name, Zawe something or other.
The villain?
Yes.
Oh my God, what a terrible villain.
Whatever her name is.
Terrible villain.
She is another one of those villains that is lucky to have a very capable actor do all of the work to make this any kind of character. Looking badass, very underwritten. The main 3, I don't think that this movie is really bolstering their journey as characters. Again, I'm not asking these movies to be the deepest. I'm not asking for some kind of impactful, meaningful allegory. However, there are character threads that are meaningful that would help this movie
54%? Okay, that's higher than I thought. It's going to get in the 40s, don't worry.
Based on something other than pre-existing knowledge that they leave on the table. There are opportunities for the history between Carol and Monica to be rectified that are touched upon but not really unpacked, and those things are the saddest parts of the movie to me, because there are lots of opportunities for some actual impactful character work they do not take. I felt kind of bad when the credits started to roll, because I was like, I don't think this is really any of the creatives' fault. I doubt this is what any of those 3 writers wanted this movie to look like. I doubt this is exactly the calling card Nia DaCosta wanted out of this experience. Everybody for the most part shows up, but it is like a weird episode of it's like one of those Doctor Who episodes that is like a loud mess, and sometimes those are fun, and in this case I had fun with that, but sometimes those are grating and not fun, and I feel like it's just as valid to fall on that other side, basically. At a certain point it does start to plateau, and then you start to notice the deficiencies of the actual plotting, filmmaking, characterization, etc. that keep this from
It was 54 to me and then disappeared. What do you mean it disappeared? They found Kathleen Kennedy under the bed or something? Like, what do you mean by that?
Despite the aspects that are maybe a bit messy.
I mean, I don't begrudge anyone who ends up actually liking this movie. I did not have high expectations for this movie. Somehow it came in exceedingly under what I expected out of this movie. And I think that the directing on this is not really shown well. Like, you hear these reports coming out and you're like, this does not feel like Nia DaCosta's direction. I can't even get my thoughts in order, guys.
It feels produced to death. It feels studio noted to death.
It's one of the most committee-made Marvel movies I've seen in a very, very long time.
It feels like...
Ouch. Okay, I think that's probably enough from that one. They're almost done anyways. Do we want to watch Dan, and then do I want to tell you guys why everybody's wrong and Feige's going to do Star Wars and Dave's retconning everything? And
somebody panicked, and they're like, this has to...
Let's see. Dan Merle. Why is my keyboard not working all of a sudden? Is that a new thing? What is this about? Okay.
Marvel's The Marvels hits theaters this weekend, but is it Marvel's us? I tell you right now.
I like Dan's intro music, man. Good
Hello,
shit.
everybody. I'm Dan Merle, and this is my review of The Marvels. Apologies if I look a little tired. It was an 11-hour round trip for me to see this movie outside of my own city in order to get this review out for embargo. But I am pretty energetic about this film, so hopefully the fatigue doesn't show too much. The Marvels is from director Nia DaCosta, whose Candyman reimagining I enjoyed back in 2021, the latest indie director recruited by Marvel and thrown at the helm of a major blockbuster. The script for the film is by Nia DaCosta, WandaVision writer Megan McDonnell, and Loki writer Alyssa Karasik, and finds Brie Larson's Captain Marvel teamed up with Iman Vellani's Ms. Marvel and Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Captain Marvel's best friend. The 3 Marvels meet cute when their powers are intertwined, causing them to switch places for the first act of the movie or so. I was not a big fan of 2019's Captain Marvel, though I did come to the movie's defense from all of the crazy theories that were formulated to explain away the movie's obvious financial success. But I did have hope for the character. I like Brie Larson as an actress, and I'd hope that they would maybe explore more about Captain Marvel in the future films that she would appear in. I'm largely impartial on Teyana Paris's Monica Rambeau. She was granted powers on Wanda.
Blasphemy. Monica Rambeau, respectfully, is one of the best characters to come out of Phase 4. Damn sure better than all of the Eternals.
Division. It was sort of a wait and see thing with her. And then I actually enjoyed the Disney Plus show Ms. Marvel, and Iman Vellani in particular. I thought she was just a breath of fresh air. I really loved her performance. And so in many ways, I was hoping that this movie would be a chance for all 3 of these actors
Yeah.
and these characters to shine.
Yeah,
And so it
let's
does
shine.
not bring me any pleasure to say that I think that The Marvels is an unmitigated disaster for Marvel and the
Dan!
MCU at this point in time. I think it is the culmination of every single mistake that the MCU has made over the last 15 years. And quite frankly, it surprises me that this movie was deemed fit for release in the shape that it's in. The Marvels is little more than a series of action sequences strung together by random scenes that sometimes connect and sometimes don't. It's obvious that this movie was chopped up, reshot, rewritten, and some attempt was made to assemble something out of it, but it is a failed attempt. If I were Kevin Feige and I saw the cut of this movie that's going out to theaters this weekend, I would have deemed it unreleasable in its current form. I think it feels
dude.
that.
I'm hearing the words. I'm having trouble making sense of it. What? I mean, I knew he was probably not going to like it. But, bro, my man's just telling you it was unfucking releasable in its current state. And look, I'm just going to say, again, think back to those positive reviews and shit that we had going on before, right? So there are some people out there that really enjoyed it. But I think, like, you hear some of those reviews, to me personally, right? I hear some of these people and the things they're saying, and I'm just like, it is night and day between what you are saying and what I am hearing from these people that I actually do have a lot more affinity for. I respect Dan's opinions, you know what I mean? Been watching Dan for, I don't know, fucking a decade on YouTube, right? Same with Christian, Roca, you know, all these guys, right? It's just so weird, man. Like, I don't know how you can actually say some of the things that the really positive people were saying. If, like, it just does, like, make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. Like, how can Dan Murrell feel this? How can Greg, who is usually very positive, very happy about these sort of things, how can Greg be acting that way? How can Dan be acting that way? And then some people out there singing its praises? Like, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense.
At unfinished. And yet The Marvels is hitting theaters this weekend to what I think will be these characters and the franchise's detriment. It's tough to know where to start, but I will start with the film's villain, which I found out when I looked at the credits is named Darbin. She's a Kree who's angry and opens up portals in the sky. That's pretty much all she has to do. And she is so underdeveloped that she makes Ronan the Accuser and Malekith look like Hannibal Lecter and Heath Ledger's Joker by comparison. Zoe Ashton does what she can with what she's given, but she's given basically nothing. It's as if Marvel took all of those criticisms they've been given in the past for having weak villains as a challenge to somehow do worse instead of better. The Marvels, as they're named in a throwaway line that may or may not have been part of a reshoot, have some fun fight scenes as they switch and combine powers, but any scene that requires dialogue is mostly disastrous. About 1/3 of the dialogue scenes are obvious expositional reshoots where they just had to dump plot because of the fact that the story had been taken apart and put back together so many times. Another third of the dialogue scenes are character development that are usually set up by lazy flashbacks or sometimes not at all. It certainly didn't land for me at any rate. And then the last third of the dialogue is generally humor. Some of it works, usually involving Iman Vellani. The force of personality that she has is really able to sell a lot of her material in the movie, but some of the humor in this movie is just awful. I mean, really, really bad. Just did not land for me. Paris is fine, though it seems like her character is really still just in placeholder mode for what they're going to do with her later on down the line, which is where it feels like this character's been from the beginning.
Sure.
And then we have Brie Larson. She seems adrift in this movie, mainly because the MCU has never actually nailed down what kind of character Captain Marvel is supposed to be.
True. And this, you know, speaks to the videos we watched on Monday. And I thought Abby did a great job kind of breaking down why there's nothing to latch onto with this character. It's just an illy conceived character arc from Jump Street, and that is tough. I mean, that is ultimately why I think we get to a place where we're at with Brie right now and the fans. Because if it was a good character, if there were things that were interesting about her, if she was given flaws and things to overcome and actual goals, there'd be more to like grab to if you wanted to come to the defense of this character. But there's literally none of that. I mean, if you're being genuine, I don't think there's any of that. So it just leaves room for the other narrative to take over, right? Again, it really does come back to the writers.
I wasn't a fan of how she was directed in the first movie. I'm not a fan of how she was directed in this movie. I know that Brie Larson is capable of giving a good performance. I've seen it multiple times on
she's a really good actor.
but never as this character. Last time I thought that she was directed to be too one note. In this movie, it feels like she's being given 4 different directions at once that she's desperately trying to execute. Samuel L. Jackson is also back as Nick Fury, and throughout most of the movie, I was thinking this has to be a variant of the Nick Fury that was just in Secret Invasion, because if he's not, then his characterization is almost insultingly 180 degrees from the character that we just saw on that.
Yep, and I've heard this. Actually, a lot of people were telling me this when Secret Invasion was wrapping up. They were like, oh man, wait till you see the Marvels. You are going to be even more pissed about Secret Invasion, because it is apparently just, it is, I mean, as Dan described, a complete 180. Literally, they're probably just going to act like that shit did not happen. Which is probably good, but also like, what? Like, how did we get here? You know, it's crazy.
Disney Plus series. I'm pretty sure that every single line that Nick Fury has in this movie is a joke. Literally, that's not an exaggeration.
Monica, you gotta fly. No. Black girl magic.
Putting aside that I didn't really think that most of Nick Fury's jokes worked, as I didn't think much of the humor in this movie worked, did nobody flag at some point that the Nick Fury in this movie and the Nick Fury in Secret Invasion seem like completely different characters, like twin brothers from different parts of the universe?
It's wild that he just comes back to Earth,
nobody
too.
paying
Like, what the
attention
fuck, dude?
at this point as far as, are we keeping characterizations consistent across different projects? And it just adds to this feeling that I have that nobody is in control of anything over at Marvel right now. The tone of this movie is all over the place. Sometimes it's a comedy, sometimes it's a farce bordering on parody, sometimes it's drama, sometimes it's action. And a movie can have all of those different tones, but when it's done correctly, they're combined almost like symphonically, all of these different instruments that come in and out at the right times. This is like all of the different instruments all playing together at the same time and all playing different songs. It is a cacophony.
That sounds fucking terrible, dude.
And again, I
Oh
feel
my
like that there
God.
was one version of the script that had one tone, and they added like one scene that was like this super broad tone. There's like a musical scene that's in there somewhere. There's
Chad, I have a question, and you know, you guys know, like I like to lean on you guys, right? So I like to lean on you guys, get your advice on different things. Do you think it would be out of pocket if I start to feel this way when I'm watching the movie, to leave and, you know, sort of time it and go to the car and just literally just smoke blunts until getting to the mid-credit scene and like coming back in and watching the mid-credit scene? Would that be like completely out of pocket? And would it be irresponsible of me to say that's what I did on my official review? I'm looking for guidance here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I'm talking like loaded Philly blunts. Like, just that's what we're doing. Do you think that is that too much? Yeah, you're right. It's probably too much.
one sequence in the third act that I think is supposed to be this like super broad, like audience pleasing, everybody's laughing kind of thing, but it's a subplot that's set up for like 30 seconds before it happens. It's not necessarily that these things wouldn't ever work. They just don't work in this movie, because this movie is a hodgepodge. It is a mishmash of ideas and scenes taken from I don't know how many different versions, shot across I don't know how long, and thrown together into one movie. Now, there is something that I have to give the Marvels credit for.
Okay.
Either smartly or cynically, some big things for the MCU as it approaches the end of its runtime. And I think the intention there is for the audience to leave buzzing about that. That certainly seemed to be what happens to the smaller group of critics that I saw this movie with. But I'm not going to let the movie do that, because you can't discount the fact that there is 100 minutes of movie completely thrown together that doesn't work ahead of a couple of different things that, yes, as a Marvel fan are exciting, but I'm at the point, and I've been an MCU fan since Iron Man in 2008, since the very first MCU movie. I have now lost all faith that the MCU is going to actually pay off on what they say they're going to, or really is capable of paying off what they say that they're going to.
He literally just said he lost all faith. All faith. I mean, guys, like, look, I'm not trying to be like dramatic, but like, bro, he said it. He said it. And, you know, like, this is why, again, I keep coming back to this idea of like, maybe they should start canceling shit. You know what I mean? Maybe they should start canceling it. And like, this is just, it's obviously not working. Like, we might watch this year 3 different examples of projects that weren't working that Marvel tried to fix by just throwing money at it. That would be Quantumania, that would be Secret Invasion, and the Marvels. And the reality is, I think in all 3 examples, and look, we don't know for sure. I'm actually shocked at the negativity that we've seen this morning. I knew it was going to be bad and mixed, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I'm shocked by it, and we don't know for sure, but it seems like Marvel's going to be in a much worse state after this weekend than it was before. And I would argue that between Quantumania, Secret Invasion, and the Marvels, you spent excesses of like $100 million and vast amount of corporate resources to try to fix things that were unfixable. And you have done more damage than you have done good. And that's why I'm like, hey, don't try to fix Armor Wars in 2024 to make it make sense in 2025 when you shot principal photography a year ago. Just fucking cancel it, dude. Like, just take the L and cancel that shit. Put those characters in something that's actually dope. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I know earlier today, My Time to Shine said that Echo is maybe the best MCU show of all, and maybe that's what it is. And hey, look, I'll tell you. It looks cool. That trailer looks way better than I thought it would, and we'll see. But I'm just saying, Marvel and Disney have this attitude right now that like they can do this and seemingly get away with it. And again, I'm not trying to be like super toxic, but guys, like if anybody at Marvel's watching, right? If anybody at Marvel with an open mind is like trying to, you know, make sense of the situation, when Dan Murrell is saying this, you are in a tailspin. When Greg is saying what he is saying, you are in a tailspin. This isn't like, oh man, maybe things are a little bit rough. Maybe we can turn it around. No, like you are at a just live in it, dude. You are fucking up. This is an intervention. This is not the 5 o'clock free crack giveaway. You need to get off of that shit. Cancel it. Cancel it. Unless you think from a conception level the shit's gonna pop, don't make it. Like, just don't make it, you know? Whew.
It's like Charlie Brown in the football. I have had the trust and the faith in the MCU for so long. When they promise this, you throw in an Evan Peters there on WandaVision and you think it's a big game changer, but it's not really. It's just some kind of weird boner joke. I have no faith that there is any kind of plan that will be executed to my satisfaction as a fan at this point. And I think that's a big problem. And it's a big reason why so many people are jumping off of the MCU train.
It's a huge problem.
There was faith all the way up until Avengers Endgame that they would execute what they said they were going to do, and they haven't been doing that lately, and it's starting to catch up with them. The Marvels is, for me, the absolute low point of the MCU so far. I think it is the on-screen complete breakdown of the Marvel creative process. Honestly, watching this movie, I'm not sure that there was ever a workable version of the Marvels that was written or shot. It seems to me that Marvel was locked into making this movie, and they were trying to write it. They didn't have the script ready before they shot. They tried to reshoot it. The reshoots didn't work, and so they just slapped together the version that they could to get it out in time for it to hit the release date. And that is so antithetical to how you should be making movies that it should be taught in film classes next to the ways that you should be making movies.
Ironically, I'd like to take a moment to give some praise to Mr. James Gunn. Just go with me on this. Did you guys know that James Gunn is the only MCU creator that makes his movies separate from the Marvel formula? I don't know if you know that, but most Marvel movies are made on the fly. 100%. Always been their thing, which, to be fair, it worked. I mean, it worked for a long time. There are misses in the Infinity Saga, but overall, I mean, you can't argue with the success that it has had, right? But like James Gunn was just like, no, like I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna write it out, plan it out, figure out what I need, and go from there. You know why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks way better than Quantumania despite having less budget? It's simple. He knew what he wanted in the shots. He gave the studio that he works with often, that visual effects studio, the time to produce the shots and make it good. Okay? So he knew what he was looking for. He put it together in a proper way. And I think more and more, it's just becoming obvious that the current Marvel formula is not working, considering how fucked up everything is. Like, maybe it's just at a point now where they need to like rethink things and try this process a little bit differently, because man, this shit ain't working. And the best movie made from Marvel this year, and probably in a while, was made by a guy that doesn't even use your formula, that's now in charge of the competition. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, dude, this is the year. Which, by the way, too, another ADD moment here. How many of you guys remember very early on this year where I said on a couple of different streams, I think 2023 might be the worst year in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think it might be the worst year for Marvel fans, because I called it very early on. And it sucks because it's kind of coming to fruition. You know?
It is anti-creativity, and I think it's right up there on the screen for people to see. I honestly wish I could sit here and give you like a huge redeeming factor that I could say tempers all the stuff that I didn't like about this movie. Iman Vellani comes close, and I still think that she is a star. I still want to see more of this character, Miss Marvel, and we'll see what they have in
Elisa
store
doesn't
for
even
her
want to go
in
now.
the future, or what's even going to happen to the MCU.
No, I'm gonna have to go
in
by
the
myself.
future. And you know, honestly, maybe I'm being a little easy. I don't even really blame Nia DaCosta for what happened with this movie. The kind of incompetence that's on display in the Marvels is generally only possible at the studio level, which means that Kevin Feige has either completely lost his touch, or there's way too much going on and they're not able to supervise things closely enough to make sure that what they're putting out there is a quality product.
Wow.
I've been called an alarmist for the MCU recently because I've been kind of saying, hey, you know, I think they really need to start paying attention to some of this stuff, even in the face of some successes, because it hasn't all been flops. Guardians 3 did pretty well in the summer. Black Panther Wakanda Forever did pretty well last year. But for me, this is absolute proof positive of what I've suspected for quite some time, which is that there's something very dire wrong at Marvel right now. The fact that you can get a movie in this shape in theaters says to me that there's something in the system that's broken, and it needs to be fixed now, not next year, not when they flush out what they have in development.
Dude,
now.
That's the shit. That's what I keep saying. And I know it's like all these people want to say I'm super toxic, and you know what? Let's be real. I am a little bit toxic, right? But this is what I've been saying on Twitter for months and months and months. You can't just flush out the bullshit that you have in production. You need to change now. You need to cancel these projects now. Get it off the table, dude. You're not going to survive. Like, that shit needs to go.
Because I do think that the MCU is possibly at risk here, and I think the Marvels is going to expose that risk in a way that they have never been exposed before.
Damn.
It hurts me to do this, but I'm giving this one a rating of stay away. What a massive disappointment this movie was from somebody who was actually rooting for it, rooting for these actors, rooting for these characters, rooting for the director. I just didn't find anything that I could grab onto here. Also, PSA, for those of you that are going to see it in theaters, there is a mid-credits scene but there is not a post-credits scene, although I encourage you to stay and look at the names of the people that worked very hard to bring that movie to the screen. Even if the movie's not great, they still worked hard. But if you do need to go to the bathroom or whatever, you want to get out of the parking lot early, you can head out after that mid-credits scene because there's nothing at the very end.
Oh, I'd like to go out to the parking lot.
Those are my thoughts on the Marvels. Pretty unambiguous,
I would like
I
to go out to the parking lot.
What do you think? Are you still excited for the movie?
Hell no, Dan! How the hell am I supposed to answer that question? Am I still excited for the movie after you shit on it and said stay away and it's gonna fucking destroy Marvel? Oh yeah, no thanks, Dan. I'm real excited for the movie, motherfucker. Ah! Okay. Any other videos we should watch? Is there anything else any other videos we should watch? Grace, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think I can do it. You guys know I really like Grace's content, but I tend to like her business takes and her news a little bit more than like her own personal reviews and shit like that. I most of the time when I watch Grace and I feel differently than she does, I scream at the screen. And I'd prefer not to do that today. So, I mean, I guess we've already done that a good bit. Yeah, okay. Jeremy Johns? How long is Jeremy Johns' vid? How long's his, it was like 6-7 minutes or something like that?
After you see it, are you going to...
How long is it? 8 minutes? We could do that. Can I make a prediction, though?
All right.
I'm going to make a prediction on this video. I think Jeremy Johns is actually going to go way softer on this movie than a lot of other people. And I think that his overall take will be like, it's fine, I guess, but definitely get drunk is kind of going to be his thing. So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Here we go.
Can it finally be accepted reality that this kind of crap is written by AI? I mean, is it not?
No!
Had to say crap at the beginning of this video for YouTube monetization purposes. The AI bot really hates it when you swear in the first few seconds of your video. That said, we're more than a few seconds in now. So what the fuck, man? So in this time of MCU Phase 4 and 5, otherwise known as post-Endgame MCU DLC, we now have the Marvels. Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, they all team up, and something happens to where when one uses their powers, they'll swap with the other one. And I gotta say, when I saw the first trailer for the Marvels, which heavily concentrated on that mechanic, I was like, that could be fun. I don't know that that mechanic had to be some super big budget MCU monstrosity. I mean, you could have had an indie film with that premise.
True.
And that would have been fun. That would have been fine. Everything everywhere, swapping around. Working title, but you get what I mean. That simple premise of fun just feels like it's in something that's overproduced and inflated. Then when I saw the second trailer that just looked like generic big budget MCU space adventure nonsense, I was like, there it is. I gotta give props and credit where credit's due. Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, I thought she was great. In fact, she was the screen presence in the entire film. I've not seen Miss Marvel, so this is my introduction to her, but I have heard she's great in Miss Marvel, and I do get it after seeing this. She has an endearing quality to her. It might actually be real life bleeding over onto the screen. A fangirl who's now playing in the sandbox she once dreamed about playing in. It works. She was actually the heart of the movie. There's a whole Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau connection that's supposed to be heartfelt. I mean, it was there. You're gonna hear me say that a lot in here, I feel. Well, that was there. Guess we should talk about that. Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau. They have this connection of the past. And there are times you feel like, oh, hey, that it's kind of getting there. Maybe it does more than I'm giving it credit here. But it's really hard for those emotional moments to come through when the movie that's built around it is crap. Actually, to be fair, I thought there was a really good scene dealing with Monica Rambeau's emotional past when they all put on the Demolition Man headpieces. I thought that was good. The Monica Rambeau Carol Danvers dynamic landed a lot better than the Carol Danvers villain dynamic. Monica Rambeau, for the most part, I was like, what is it you do here. Such a bummer because during and after WandaVision, I was interested as to where they were going to take that character. By the end, her entire...
Okay. I am going to put something out there that is complete speculation. Complete speculation. And probably not true. So don't take this as anything that's probably true. But here's what happened. Do you remember the reports from Jeff Snyder, who I know we only like him when he's reporting non-toxic news, right? But let's just, for the sake of this discussion, do you remember when Jeff Snyder had reported that there was beef between Teyana Paris and Brie Larson? So one of the things that I found interesting in one of Grace's videos or streams where she was talking about this was she had said something like, it seemed like Nia DaCosta had given a bunch of scenes to Monica over Brie. And I wonder, because of after that thing blew up when Snyder was reporting it and stuff, it's like, I wonder if like they did another version and like took some of the toys away from Teyana and gave them back to Brie just so the kids would stop fighting. And then that probably left it shallow and more hollow than ever. And I wonder if that is something that happened here. Just so many like egos and personal things at play rather than just a good story. You know what I mean? And again, total speculation, pure fiction.
Her character was relegated to just being a MacGuffin. But all in all, I saw Captain Marvel. I saw WandaVision. I've never seen Miss Marvel. And Miss Marvel, I thought was the best character of the three. As for the villain in this movie, Dar-Ben. Don't know much about the character from the comic books. Looked up a little bit before I started doing the review. Didn't do a big deep dive or anything. But from what I read, it sounds like it would have been really easy to take this new villain, just turn this new character into Dollar Store Ronan the Accuser or something. And that's exactly what they did. The villain in this movie is the absolute worst. And that's in the MCU. That's saying something. The kind of impressive where they had to try to fuck it up this badly. I feel like the conversation was no deeper than, we want Ronan the Accuser back. But I've been told he's been dead in the MCU for years now. Plus, character development just takes up screen time. We want to pull this baby back to under 2 hours. Hear me out on this one. Like Ronan, pretty much him. Only a woman this time. Because that's all the development you need.
Oh,
I know.
Genius.
I know. Thank you.
Brilliant.
It just comes to me.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
By the way, you see that bullshit South Park episode?
Oh, God,
I mean,
don't get me started.
how wrong can you get it? And I feel like I should...
Damn!
Clarify, given the mechanics of the MCU multiverse, this isn't supposed to be a female variant of Ronan like Sylvia's to Loki. This is just a new villain. The villain and the dynamic.
Is this real life? Are we in a simulation right now? Like, what is going on? I feel like maybe this is the ninth circle of nerdy hell or something. Like, what is happening?
Carol Danvers and villain on paper probably sounded great. Like in concept, in my mind, I could just see a layout where it's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. In execution, it doesn't feel like there is any dynamic. The character development's not there. We're being told this, we're being told that. All the while, it just feels like baddie doing baddie things and they gotta stop baddie. There's, spoilers. I can't do it here. I can't talk about it here. If I give 2 fucks enough to do a spoiler talk video, I'll do that. You feel like there's a whole movie of setup before this movie that you should have watched that never happened. Oh God, is that just set up for a prequel series on Disney Plus? I wouldn't doubt it. The villain even has Ronan's hammer,
dude,
but
how did we get
Ronan
here?
put the Power Stone in it, so the Power Stone made it really powerful. It's like this villain has that version of the hammer with the Power Stone, but without a Power Stone. I was like, is there a Power Stone out there I'm not aware of? Granted, she does have a magical relic device that seems to be acting through the hammer. But is that just what happens with the hammer? Any magical relic or device that acts through the hammer just acts one way? Anything going through the hammer just acts like the purple Infinity Stone? It doesn't come across as a continuity thing. It comes across as a, we don't know how to do anything new or different thing. So that covers the characters.
boy.
Is that it? Wait, there's more. The CGI in the movie, there's a lot going on in
boy.
the action sequences, whether it's a lot of CGI or characters swapping places because they're using their powers, which is kind of intermittent. There were definitely moments where I was like, the character used her powers and she didn't swap. And why didn't she swap? Sometimes a little bit of power will make them swap. Sometimes they need to use more powers, but they don't always swap, and it never explains why. Not like we live in what's known as the digital age, in which all you have to worry about is the internet picking apart your inconsistency.
I know,
so
right?
Sometimes the action sequences just look like CGI. But when you had a still moment, nothing distracting you, you got to zero in on the CGI. Oh yeah, that was noticeable. There are a couple of dumb ass side quest. Not only does this movie generally feel like a tech demo for gameplay mechanics, you swap places with other characters, gameplay mechanic. You know how every sandbox game has that mission where you're like, this is goofy. This is some ridiculous shit. But every game gets one. This isn't a game, but it still gives us one. It's fucking weird. Actually, no, there's two. There are two side quests that are absolute ridiculous bullshit. I'll be vague, but I'll talk about them here. There's this one planet they go to in which people just sing to talk to people. If you just talk to them, they can't understand you. You have to sing to them.
Yeah.
I was like, this would be fine in an episode of DuckTales or something. Launchpad McQuack flies Scrooge McDuck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie to this other land where people sing when they talk. At the very least, speak Walla Walla Bing Bang. Disney afternoon, baby. In an MCU movie, it just felt like someone trying to recapture that Taika Waititi energy, but Thor Love and Thunder Taika Waititi energy. It was fucking ridiculous. Another one, keeping this one vague, it has to do with cats, and it's dumb as shit too. And these two comedy bits just feel out of place in this movie. Makes the movie
Hey, look, chat. Let me just, are you having a good time? I know we're kind of like, pour one out. It might be over. Should we even go see this fucking movie? Like, because I'm in a weird place where I don't even know if I want to see this film now. But I am also kind of having fun in this stream. Misery loves company, so it's cool to chill with you guys. And, I feel like those, the dudes playing the shit in Titanic. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, man. Let's have some fun while we're sinking.
Tonally inconsistent. But in the end, the real question is, what is this movie about? What's the plot? No, the plot is not the characters when they use their powers swap places with each other. That's a mechanic, not the plot. The plot, I don't fucking know either. The baddie's doing baddie things and needs to be stopped. No. It's a very simple ass plot. It's another high budget grade B film. But it lacks the camp and cheese element that would make it a cult classic 20 years from now. But Iman Vellani was really good in the movie. She has this infectious optimism.
She's charismatic.
Like it's not the character that's having the time of her life. She is. And that doesn't always land with me. It does with her. Go forth and prosper, kid. You were the best one in this film. The rest of the movie feels like an exercise in complacency and a testament to the fact that the MCU needs to take a break.
For sure. And by the way, that break can come in the form of canceling these horse shit projects. That could be a break. You know what I mean? So I agree.
A couple years, make people miss you, regroup, reassess, reevaluate, come back in a couple years and crush it. Don't give us more of this. I say that because this is, generally speaking, what they give now. Movies that you're not going to remember.
Ooh, that's tough.
This one day. Yeah, how the fuck did we get here? It's under 2
How the fuck did we get here, bro? Oh, man.
2 hours. That's nice. Yeah, there's a mid-credit scene. Go ahead and stay for that so you can see more bad CGI. I heard there's a post-credit scene, but it seems pretty useless to me. Okay, The Marvels. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? What's your least favorite MCU movie or MCU villain?
Stop!
Whatever
It's
you
already
think, comment
dead!
below. Let me know. And
Jeremy, stop. He's already dead. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, now, if that weren't bad enough, with all of that context, and by the way, maybe it's worth... I don't know. Is it worth like reading some of the positive reviews now that we've seen other people like talk about it? You know what I mean? Like just to go back to the positivity. What if we instead watched one of the most awkward Kevin Feige interviews I've ever seen in my life? Here we go.
Freaking working. Okay, let's do a quick state.
By the way, of course, I love Ash Crosland, man. She's great. She's great. Does a great job, and I think does her best in this interview. And of course, you should know I simp for Kevin Feige, but this is one of the most awkward. Let's just watch it.
State of the Union of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because there's a lot of energy surrounding Marvel. There's a lot of headlines, things going on, things that might be true, things that may not be true. What can you say? Trying to get you to summarize this in a soundbite about the direction of the MCU and kind of your vision going forward. Is there anything you want to clarify?
The Marvels comes out on Friday.
Great.
Finale of Loki on Thursday. Those are two giant things.
Those are two giant things.
Those are two giant things that I like to look far, far ahead, which we can't talk about, and what's immediate. And, those two projects that are being unveiled to the fans within 2 days represents about 5 years of work.
So here's the thing. I think that Feige is very good at, you know, in these situations, he usually has very good boilerplates. And of course, he's not going to like give things out and like talk about all that sort of stuff. Is the audio messed up? What's the audio? Like, what do you mean? Like when I was playing it here, or just like our audio as well? Yeah, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge an interview. Yeah. So, the video of Feige. Oh, okay. Well, it's fine on my end. So you might want to just, I don't know, try to refresh or check it out. Okay. But, Ash asked him basically for a State of the Union for Marvel. And he said, the Marvels and Loki both come out on the same day, and it represents about 5 years of work. And that answer bothers me for multiple reasons. Number one, nobody cares how much work you put into it. Like, that is such a weird thing to bring up. It's like when somebody screws something up and then you want to bring up how hard everybody that worked on it. It's like, we're in the entertainment industry. Like, nobody gives a fuck, man. Like, nobody cares how much work, time, energy, focus goes into a thing if it's a shit-ass product, okay? So that's part of why it bugs me, but also just like the obfuscation for me hits a little bit different when you know what time it is, dude. You know, you refused or you didn't comment on the Variety article. They hit you up. We know you know about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like this what is normally maybe like, clever Kevin Feige, in this situation does not feel the same.
Of about thousands and thousands of people. But to me, that's the focus.
My favorite thing you always say, you're like, some people like to talk, me, not so much.
That's true, too.
The final trailer came out for the Marvels, and it kind of threw the gauntlet. We see Tessa Thompson. We see another character kind of walk by, and everyone's going,
Who is it?
Who is it?
Who is it? What's the tough theory?
Okay, my safety school is that I think it might be Maria, but my Yale or Harvard is that it's Storm.
I've never heard that. Safety school or Yale or Harvard? That's interesting.
Yeah, like, you know when you're applying for colleges and
Yes.
you're like, I think it's probably this, but if it's this, I'm going to lose my mind, but I don't want to,
Yes.
you know, it's...
I did not apply to Yale or Harvard.
I did not either.
So weird too, because doesn't the it was the book. The book recently was talking about how he applied to USC like 6 different times. I'm sure this isn't like on purpose that this question came up, but it's just like so awkward, dude.
First. But given that, what can you say about the Marvel's impact on the future of the MCU, the next phase?
I mean, everything is a building block in the broader story. That's just part of the fun. But really, it's the fun of the movie. The movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And what me...
Are you sure about that?
Mia has worked on for so long, for so hard with Brie and with Tiana and with Amon especially. Again, as I said, represents years of very hard work, and it's this experience and the fun of this movie that is what I want people focused on.
I remember being in Hall H a couple years ago, not the one I hosted, it was the year before that.
Yes.
Which, I mean, again, I think part of the reason that it's awkward is like, you know, Kevin is deflecting and he's like, I just want to focus on the movie, talk about the movie. But the press, I mean, the press is the press. I think it's literally her job, Ash, despite their relationship, it is literally her job to get comments on stories and things that are huge. Like, dude, this is a huge moment, not just for this movie, but for Marvel in general. And I think in some ways she is literally like it's not even that she's trying to get answers out of him that are going to make it all look bad, but my perception of this is like he might be feeling that any comment on that sort of stuff will make it look bad, which is the wrong attitude. Like, I feel like you got to be able to answer some of these things, and you got to be able to say it in a way that deflates the drama, that brings us back to reality and maybe gets us excited. But that's not what's happening in this interview.
Where you said all of these things, you had all these announcements, and then you're like, and we can't even talk about mutants yet, but we will eventually. And now we're at a point where Kamala, we know, is one of the first times we hear the word mutant in the MCU. So I know you don't show your cards, but I know how much you love the freaking X-Men. Is there anything you can say about how delicate that is to you and kind of what the plan is. When are we going to hear something?
I don't know if it's delicate. It's super exciting, but the X-Men are as solid and rich and great a concept and characters as exist. The return of the animated series next year, which we're very excited about.
Yes.
And I saw some new final episodes today, which really bring you back to that core of who the X-Men are and that soap opera that those characters represent. And then in live action, people will see, perhaps soon.
Yeah, we've had a lot of new characters enter the fold since Endgame. We could sit here for hours and talk about every single one, but you know what? Thank you for giving me that exclusive.
Yes.
Oh my God, Kevin, I knew I was your favorite. I'm just gonna pick one out of a hat though.
Okay.
Harry Styles, we saw him in the Eternals. It's been 2 years. Have you guys had any more talks? Are we gonna see him pop up again soon?
He's excited. We're excited. We will see. You introduce a lot of new characters in a lot of movies and a lot of tags.
Yes.
Yes. Where do the tag folk reappear? That's
Where
a good question.
Yes, and then there's this Taylor Swift, this Dazzler rumor going around. There's just so much.
A lot of musicians.
A lot of musicians.
Yes.
It's we need. Well, I was gonna say we need a Marvel.
So wait a minute. Are you guys saying that the audio is just so bad that you guys can't do it? Because on my end, it's fine, dude. They're sniping. Let's see. Everything looks good on my end. Looks fine. Like, there's music playing in the background of it. The quality's not super great. Yeah.
Marvel musical, but we actually got one.
Rogers the Musical.
We got Rogers
Yes.
the Musical, so
Yes.
never mind.
Yes, super fucking awkward. I'm like, what?
Okay, one specific thing I want to ask you that was in the headlines is this idea that some fallen Avengers could make their return. Anything you can say about that? I know this answer.
No. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
So fucking awkward. Holy shit.
Fallen Avengers returning. Is that a new? I've not even seen that. Is that a new rumor?
Yeah, it was like one of the things that were talked about at this
Is that new rumors? Okay.
retreat where Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. possibly returning at some point.
We did not discuss that at the retreat. Is the truth.
Okay.
We're doing a project with Scarlett. I love Robert. He's a part of the family. But in terms of returning, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's not really flat out saying no, by the way. And he said that that's not something we talked about at the retreat. And I think what he might mean is, like, it's not something that we had just brought up at the retreat. This is something that's been long-standing in the plans. So, you know, he kind of lets it out that there's a project with Scarlett, but that's already been, you know, and he doesn't say no to Robert, but he said, we'll see. You know what I mean?
Okay, my final question for you.
Final question, the
What's
most
up with
awkward.
Star Wars movie? Is it happening? I know that's.
And again, this is literally her job.
For you. What's up with the Star Wars movie? Is it happening? I know that's like. Is it happening?
Any Star Wars movie?
Yours.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Wow.
Discuss that at the retreat. Is the truth.
Okay.
We're doing a project with Scarlett. I love Robert. He's a part of the family. But in terms of returning, we'll have to see.
Okay, my final question for you. What's up with the Star Wars movie? Is it happening? I know that's like. Is it happening?
Any Star Wars movie?
Yours.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Super awkward, bro. Oh, dude, this shit hurt. Like watching this, honestly, kind of hurt because again, like, Feige is usually really good in these kind of situations, and I think the energy around Marvel has usually been much better than that, just generally speaking. And so, I mean, he just really didn't like any time she addressed anything other than the Marvels. And I mean, like, I'm sorry, but that is the way it is. That's the way it is. When you're on the fucking red carpet, homie, like, you're going to get hit with those sort of questions. Like, this is the game. That's what it is. And at a time when I think quite literally the sky is falling for Marvel, it's just weird that we have the guy, the head honcho guy, that has the ability to put some of this to bed, that has the ability to maybe try to talk his way out of some of these things. And this interview gives me zero faith, zero feeling of comfort. I don't walk away from this feeling good whatsoever. And I think, you know, the end there where she asks about the Star Wars movie, I think the way he answered it is more telling than the answer he gave. You know, he kind of looks down. I think he kind of thinks about how he wants to answer it. He tries to obfuscate, you know, in a funny way. She kind of pins him down, and he just says no. And then he just smiles at her and says thank you. And it's one of those things where she says thank you, but it really kind of sounds like fuck you. Not good, man. Not good. And that kind of takes me into some other stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I mean, maybe we should let that breathe a little bit and just see what you guys think. Like, what do you guys think? What do you think? Like, about all of it. Yeah. Oh, I don't think she's done. I think they'll continue to work with Ashley. I mean, I doubt it's going to be a thing, but it's just the energy between them was just like obvious, man. You know what I mean? He looked disappointed with everything. Yeah, for sure. Christian has a new video about what, man? You know, like, what do you mean? Something else we should watch? The interview was good, says Carl Jr. with a SpongeBob thing. Okay, bro. Right on, Carl Jr. It's KK's fault? Well, it might be. You know? Oh, and here's the thing. A lot of people are saying that when he said no about the Star Wars movie, that he's... that you know, because look, this story came out yesterday from My Time to Shine Hello, and this is something I'd love to kind of pivot into and talk about. She said Marvel, or Kevin Feige is considering leaving Marvel after Secret Wars and going over to Star Wars, okay? And I think that's 100% real. It doesn't mean he's going to do it, but I think that is absolutely something that's been discussed, okay? And, you know, there are people that are going to bring up that part of the interview and say that means that Star Wars, the Kevin Feige Star Wars news is not true. And I'm telling you, like, that's not what just happened. He did not just debunk that. It's possible that it's not going to happen, but I absolutely think that it's real, and I think it's something that Disney wants to do. But here's the other thing that's kind of sad, is it doesn't work unless they get Marvel figured out. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin Feige coming over to Star Wars will not have the same oomph. It will not actually do anything. It will not get anybody excited. It will solve zero problems if Kevin doesn't turn this shit around. You know what I mean? And do I think he's capable of doing it? Yeah, for sure. I do think he's capable of doing it. If he actually does it, that's yet to be determined. I think that they need to get much more drastic, much more desperate, and they need to cancel some shit. They need to reevaluate some stuff and, like, just kind of, you know, really make some drastic changes, which hopefully they're going to be aware of, especially after this weekend and whatever the final box office run ends up being for the Marvels. So I think that's probably going to happen. But let me just kind of TLDR to you guys why I think this is the case and why I also think that last question bothered Kevin so much, okay? He is a very behind-the-doors company man, and he doesn't like when these things get out there. But from what I understand, he's always wanted to do Star Wars. I think there's a measure of him that's always wanted to just take over Star Wars. And, you know, I brought this up in a video yesterday. Puck News ran a big piece after Kathleen Kennedy had this really weird comment, where maybe you guys will remember. She had this comment where she said that Kevin Feige... Oh, I can actually probably just pull it up for you guys. Y'all remember this? Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars amnesia. Okay, so it says right here, who is Kathy kidding? A lot of eyes rolled at Marvel this weekend after Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy downplayed the recently shelved Star Wars project that was in development from Marvel's Kevin Feige. That project, according to Kennedy, was, quote, was something announced in the press or I guess fandom, but there was nothing ever got developed. It's not an abandoned project. It just didn't happen. Okay? Now, they go on to say in this article, the Kevin Feige Star Wars project was and is still very much real. Now, this is from earlier this year, so it's not happening according to that interview that we just got from Feige, right? But at the time of this article, it was still very real. And B, Kennedy was not only aware of it, she actually received periodic updates on its status, including when Marvel go-to Michael Waldron was hired to write it. In fact, far from being something announced in the press or fandom, whatever that means, it was actually Alan Horn, Kathleen Kennedy's boss, that said when he was running Disney's film group, he announced the project. In 2019, he said this: with the close of the Skywalker saga, Kathy is pursuing a new era in Star Wars storytelling, Horn told THR at the time. And knowing what a diehard fan Kevin is, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work on a Star Wars film together. Now, this is a very important part of the whole story right here. If that quote sounds like a delicate balancing act to placate Kennedy, it definitely was. According to sources, Kathy was never enthusiastic about the Feige project, and I suppose I get it. Even after some recent Marvel stumbles, Feige is by far the most powerful creative executive at Disney. His success in Kennedy's sandbox would be hugely embarrassing for her, especially given all the problems with the Star Wars films going back to J.J. Look, we've went over it a million different times, okay? Now, the reason I bring that up, the reason it's kind of interesting, is I've heard rumors for years, and actually some of this started on a Nerd Theory when Mark Fernandez told me that the talk around town in Hollywood was that Kathleen Kennedy would never let that Kevin Feige movie happen, and that she's really defensive of the situation because she doesn't want Feige to take over Star Wars or make it look like he's coming in and like doing really, really good stuff, right? So I've been hearing that for years. In fact, I made videos about it. I made 2 videos about it last year where I was really fired up about it. Like, really fired up about it. Because in my mind, Star Wars is in a complete disarray, and they need somebody like Kevin to come in and fix it all, right? So, ultimately, you know, when it comes to this story and this thing, I mean, there's a wider story here that, you know, Disney itself is in something of a tailspin. Their stock price is, I mean, let's see, where's the Disney stock price at? Where are we at? Oh, actually, it's seen a little bit bump since the last time we looked at it, but it's still at $84. It's still like massively down compared to what it was. Maybe they just had an earnings report recently or something, because that's a little bit of a bump, but it's still really, really bad. Last time I checked it, though, it was below 80, so credit where credit is due. Disney itself in complete disarray. Nelson Peltz trying to take board seats, trying to turn things around. Yeah, Disney's in bad shape. So, you know, you've got Disney in bad shape. You've got Star Wars in bad shape. You've got Marvel in bad shape. And to me, if let's just say, if Feige can actually turn this around and deliver a really satisfying Secret Wars, I think it makes a lot of sense to move him over to Star Wars. And I think it would make a lot of sense to allow somebody else to take the reins of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially after a soft reboot. I mean, you're going to get all the toys back. It's going to have sort of new, fresh continuity. That could be really interesting. And I'm just telling you right now, because a lot of people think it's crazy. They think that My Time to Shine is like a, you know, clickbait grifter or whatever, which maybe is true in some ways, right? But I'm telling you right now, that story is real. And I would not be surprised if Kevin Feige actually does take over Star Wars. And if it happens, it'll be years from now. It'll probably be 3-4 years from now. If that happens, oh my God, am I going to be an insufferable douchebag going around to every single person that said it was fake news, every single person that said it would never happen. I'm going to be blowing up their Twitters. I'm going to be coming into their streams. I'm going to be commenting on their videos because everybody is looking past this right now. And I'm just trying to stand here and say, this is factually based. This is not an ass grab. This is not fake news. This is something that's been building for years, and there's evidence of a tension between Kathleen and Feige that I think probably led to the super ass awkward answer he just gave about his Star Wars movie. It's not a no. It's a no, and stop talking about this because it's deeper than a lot of people think, and it's crazier than a lot of people think. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I've never been wrong before, chat. I've never been wrong before, but there's a first time for every thing. Okay. One last thing we got to talk about. And by the way, if you're this stream went in directions I did not think it would go in. So I know my buddy here is trying to figure out. I wanted to work on. I'm trying to do clips of the streams, guys. And we have an editor standing by that was going to do a clip from today's stream, and it's supposed to be about what we're about to talk about here. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see where we go, okay? Now check this out. Check this out, okay? I made a video yesterday, and I said, I can't believe what I'm saying. This was like in the tweet that I made when I posted about this shit. I said, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think Dave Filoni is retconning the sequel trilogy. I think there's proof in the Ahsoka show, and that's real. I think that. I feel that way. That's what's... I am so convinced that that's actually what's happening. Now, let's look at some of the comments here. Star Wars Academy, Psy, Retney's Holocron, Josh, ... X-Wing, Josh, ... Good theory. I think it's going in that direction. Ahsoka show created many possibilities. Star Wars... Okay, that's a nice one. He did it before. The Clone Wars gave more context than me. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Oh boy, I hope you're right. Let's watch. You bored as fuck because there's no way. Okay, this guy doing this thing. There's no way he's doing it. He loves the sequels. It's not going to happen. That's the only hope for Star Wars under Disney rule. And like just like look, Echo Base wants to bet 100K. Okay, like look, everybody's like saying that. And look, let's look at the comment section on the actual video. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, dude. Oh, wait, actually, we got to do this if we want to look at that. Here, I'll pause it. Okay, top-rated comment. I remember how hyped I was for Star Wars after The Force Awakens. Battlefront 2 dropped not long after campaign start. Luke was such a fun and interesting part. Made me want to see nothing Luke post-Return of the Jedi, and then The Last Jedi came out. I think at best, Dave is setting up a possible groundwork for him doing something in the future after Kennedy is gone. Disney is hubris personified. They will never admit they did anything wrong. There was one in here that was like calling me oh, here it is. Yeah. Lucasfilm. We are literally making a Rey movie. Josh, they're retconning the sequels. 74 likes on that. Okay. And the reason I bring this entire thing up is because I am convinced that very few of you even know what retcon means. It's mind-blowing, but I'm not saying they're going to erase the sequels. That's not what I'm saying. And that would not just be a retcon. That would be like a reboot or something crazy like that, right? So they're not going to erase the sequels. And I'll just spoil what I'm talking about in the video for you guys, because I really do believe that this is happening. But like the reaction to it and the way people took it, I was like, yo, holy shit. Like, you guys literally don't know what a retcon means. Half of you guys got super upset because you're like, they're obviously not going to erase the sequels. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? And then there's a bunch of other people that got really excited and were like, yes, no sequels, get rid of the sequels, take away the sequels. And I'm just like, holy shit, how did we arrive here as a fandom where nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, now let me explain what's going on. The whole point of the video, I think your title was just a little misleading. What are you talking about? The title's not misleading. It's your Mandela effect bullshit way of thinking that's misleading. Oh my God. Okay, so here's what I mean. Here's what I mean by retcon. Right now, what is the explanation for Luke being a little bitch boy? What's the explanation? What's the current continuity of the sequels? What is it? Reading and comprehension is at an all-time low. You ain't kidding about that, buddy. Hey, you ain't kidding about that. Yeah, what's the current continuity of why that happened? Obviously, your video was about them deleting Star Wars. Jesus Christ. Yeah, retroactive continuity, okay? The current continuity is he saw Ben be a bad boy in training, okay? He looked into his future and saw that Ben would be a bad boy and terrorize the galaxy, and then he literally said, I'm going to kill this little bitch. Now, it only is there for a second, right? He says it passes like a fleeting shadow, which is an important line, okay? He literally says, it passed like a fleeting shadow, but for one moment, I thought about all the things I had fought for, all of this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, well, I could just kill my sister's child. I know there's a lot of goobly glob bullshit in those movies, but that is the single most egregious thing that they did with the sequel trilogies, and it is horrible for the character of Luke Skywalker. There's no amount of explanation from any one of you sequel supporters that could ever make that make sense for me. However, there is something that could make that make sense, okay? And this would be a retroactive continuity in which it's not just that Luke Skywalker saw Ben do bad things and saw a scary future and then was like, oh, maybe I'll just kill this little bitch. That's not real, acceptable, understandable. RG, it doesn't make sense to you. Don't even say that. So the new continuity, the retcon that I'm talking about, would make it so that Luke Skywalker and Ben Solo, either in Ahsoka Season 2 or maybe in the Filoni movie, have to spend some time either on Peridia or around Abeloth, okay? Now check it out. In the Marvel or in the Star Wars Legends series of books, the ones about Abeloth, which I'm currently reading through right now, there was a thing called Force psychosis, okay? This was something that started to happen to different younglings or young Jedi where they had a psychotic break and this extreme paranoia where they couldn't recognize their own family, their own friends. For some reason, it felt like everyone around them was an imposter. Okay? This crazy paranoia that happens, and it's Abeloth. Abeloth, because the kids were kept on shelter base near Abeloth during the Yuuzhan Vong War, she kind of poisons them with like this disease of the mind, and it all comes from Abeloth. It starts affecting others as well than just the young Jedi. But here's the point. If Luke Skywalker, before the sequels, was around Abeloth, and Ben Skywalker was as well, perhaps in the belly of his mother, and maybe it's just Leia and Luke and they're around Abeloth, or maybe it's young Ben himself that goes with Luke Skywalker to Peridia to try to stop Abeloth. Then what will happen is Abeloth's Force psychosis and her chaotic crazy Force powers would be the thing that actually caused Ben Solo to exhibit dark behavior. It could also be the thing that made Luke Skywalker perceive the dark behavior. It could be the thing that made Luke see an alternate future that was really dark for Ben, and it could even be the thing that made Luke light up that lightsaber and potentially strike down Ben Solo. And here's something else that's really interesting. Luke says it passed like a fleeting shadow. And at the end of Ahsoka, Sabine says it was just shadows in the starlight. I think that's an actual direct link that he put into his script to evoke the scenes from The Last Jedi, to lay the groundwork for this retcon, which wouldn't fix the entirety of the sequel trilogy, but it would at least give an explanation and a reason to why Luke acted that way. It's potentially the reason why he walks away from everything. You know what I mean? Depending on how deep it is, this might be, maybe he can't trust himself. That's why he walks away completely, right? That's why Ben is so messed up. It gives you an alternate explanation to, yeah, Luke just kind of got shitty in his old age. Do you know what I mean? That's a better explanation. It also allows them to take the threads from the sequels and play with them in the future content, either in the Rey movie or in movies coming out in the future, to again give it more than just, oh yeah, Luke kind of got shitty in his old age, and Ben, yeah, just kind of a dark kid. You know what I'm saying? So, even though 90% of the Star Wars fans can't understand what a retcon is, even though 90% of the Star Wars fans just, like, I don't even know, man. Star Wars fans, y'all are wild, man. Y'all are super wild. So, despite all that, I just wanted to clarify my position, clarify why the retcon would be real, why I think it would actually help. And again, if that shit happens, I'm gonna gloat, 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 gloat. I'm gonna gloat, 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 gloat. Okay. We've been going for a while. Should we talk Zelda? We've been going for a while. Is it Zelda time, or should we get into Q&A? Should we talk some Zelda? I actually have a video here from a streamer and a YouTuber named Miss Click, who I know is a hardcore fan of the Zelda games. I think it would be kind of fun. It's like a 10-minute video. I think it would be kind of fun to watch her video reacting to this and kind of give my feedback on top of that. What do you guys think? Would this be okay? And I know we're reacting to a lot of vids today, but I think it's been a good time. I think it's been a good time. Literally getting you through the workday? Let's go, baby. That's what I'm here for. You guys are getting me through the workday. All right, lads and lasses. Let's see what a Zelda aficionado and gamer has to say about this news.
My friends, we are either in the darkest timeline, or perhaps are we in the brightest? Couple hours ago, 3 hours ago, Miyamoto himself came to Twitter.
It's wild that Miyamoto
to let us
said
know
this.
that he has been working on a live action The Legend of Zelda movie. And this hasn't been something for a couple weeks, couple months. This has been something that apparently has been a couple years down the line. Actually, many years.
Many years in development. Wild.
Down the line. With some interesting names tied to this title, might I add.
Yes, very interesting.
Brought us some bangers like Into the Spider-Verse. But also Morbius.
True. True.
Oh man, I'm trying not to be a hater. I want to blast this video really quick because I know there's gonna be 1,000 questions of people coming at me. What do I want? What do I not want? Because they've existed before, especially after the Mario movie. The questions have been there. And you know what? I'm just gonna keep throwing this video at y'all for when you ask me those questions. Here's the grocery list. So if you're here from that, sorry about it. Love you. First off, my immediate reaction, I am glad that this was a tweet and in fact not a trailer thrown at the end of a Nintendo Direct or something, because I would never live that reaction down because I don't know how good and or how bad it would be. Second, live action was not what I would have hoped for anything Zelda outside of
yeah, it is weird considering a couple of different things. I mean, first of all, I think obviously a video game translation into animation just seems a little bit of less of a stretch, I guess. And then with the success of the Mario movie and the Sonic movies, it does kind of seem like you'd probably do animation. But if this movie's been in the works for years, which Miyamoto was also involved in the Mario movie, it's possible the plan to do this in live action predates any of the video game stuff that we have going on.
Video game. Considering the fact how hard that I've personally been on Tears of the Kingdom, which I probably should have made a video on. I am perhaps one of the more skeptical people of a live action. I know many people are. However, I am just, after everything, especially this year for me, I am incredibly skeptical of a live action. Especially because for me, when you have Hollywood involved,
oh yeah,
I feel like you have to fight tooth and nail to truly keep the heart and soul behind projects, especially when it comes down to the video game genre.
I think that's absolutely been true in the past, and I can see why the concern would be there. But I would argue that with the success of the Mario movie, which had his direct involvement, and then also with Neil Druckmann being directly involved in The Last of Us, even though I don't watch the show, a lot of praise for it, a lot of success. I think we are starting to see, and it's not a one-to-one, but even you look at the fact that Oda was super involved in the Netflix adaptation of One Punch Man. You know, I think Hollywood is definitely Hollywood and has its problems, but I believe we're in a phase where they're starting to understand and appreciate and value the creators from the video game space coming. Oh, did I say One Punch Man? One Piece. Coming in and helping to actually bring that vision to life. So
we've had some good hits, and we've had some not good hits. So really, I'm feeling 50-50 on this thing. Because to me, it's either a phenomenal movie or it's going to just be not what a Zelda should ever be exposed to. And that's just how I feel. That's how strongly I feel about it. I'm coming off a little bit of a high from BlizzCon this week with all the new World of Warcraft stuff that has been announced.
Yeah, the BlizzCon stuff is actually kind of fun.
When I tell you they have been on the uprise with that quality, the production, and what is to come for that roadmap.
Are y'all going to go back and play World of Warcraft now? I don't know how many of you guys ever played it, but they have like 3 expansions.
It's a little shaky for me to hear some, like, another baby of mine moving into a new chapter. And I don't know how to feel. I really don't know how to feel about it. Who do I want casted? No one that we know.
Chris Pratt.
It's doable.
Chris Pratt for Link.
Plenty of shows have brought people with very, very little on their filmography, on their resume, and have become
the
absolutely
fucking battery
known
died. How long have we been
for their
streaming?
roles.
We're at 2.5 hours.
I don't know.
You
I think
guys.
it's hard for me to just, especially when it's live action. Voiceovers is one thing, but man, just to look at someone's face and be like, is Tom Holland doing a good job as Link? Man, I don't know if I'd ever be able to allow myself to sit in the sacredness that Zelda should be. How do you get the...
Do you guys think that Tom Holland would actually do a good job? I'm going to leave the camera off for a little bit while we finish this up. We'll do like another third of it. And then we'll finish off with some Q&A, okay?
pacing right, how do we accomplish the tone? How do we establish Link? Is he going to be a vocal character? Is he not? Is he
That's
going to have
a
an
huge
incredibly more traumatic backstory?
That's actually an incredibly good question because Link doesn't really speak in the games. I mean, unless there's one where he speaks that I haven't played, he doesn't speak. That's a weird thing to do for a character. How many movies have been made about characters that don't speak? Interesting.
To why he can't talk if that's the case?
Right.
Is it even our OG cast? I don't know. There are so many questions. What I will say though is after all this is said and done, right? Live action might not be my first and most foremost hope for this series, but we're getting it. And if Nintendo is as meticulous with this movie as they are meticulous with me putting #FreeGame on all of my posts, or I suffer the consequences, I would like to think that we should hopefully be in good hands. I just don't know.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like that's another thing like within the gaming community I think it's a little bit more obvious, but like Nintendo is not a nice company, dude. They will literally sue their own fans for putting on tournaments that are like non-sanctioned. Their copyright stuff's very rough. They've been getting a little bit better from what I understand recently, but this is a company that is not super well loved by a lot of the people that even consume their stuff.
That dynamic with Hollywood. It's a little too late to have hopes for an animated movie. I just hope this isn't another Warcraft scenario for me. The CGI of that movie straight up carried the live action scenarios.
True.
And that's because that's what Warcraft is known for. It's known for being a video game, but for being animated, where you can control absolutely every aspect. Zelda has been controlled of every aspect. The voice acting has been the newest free agent added into the equation. And even then, it caused a stir. I am just so curious to see how they accomplish this casting to meet basically impossible standards.
Yeah, that's fair. Yo, real talk. How many of you guys have played a Zelda game? I feel like it's spanned so many generations, and there's almost always at least one really good one in every generation. So like, throw a 1 into the chat if you've just straight up played Zelda. You know, because I've played a lot of those games. I don't really like play Zelda like these days. Like I haven't probably played one since Twilight Princess, I think. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And it's like, they're all similar, right? They all, you know, Link saving the princess, Ganon or Ganondorf, you know, Triforce, you know, those sort of things. Yeah. So, I mean, it's got this wide appeal and this like huge net that it could cast. But, you know, she says like impossible standards. I mean, I think for a lot of people, like I think for people like her, that's true. Maybe though, for a lot of you that just put 1 into the chat, it's more like I have a standard and I have a vision of what it would be. But a lot of us aren't like that hardcore. Although, if you start to add up the numbers, it's kind of interesting because I bet there are more people that have bought Zelda games over the last 10 years that have actually bought like movie tickets for a lot of like some of these big things. I don't know, it's interesting because unless I'm mistaken, I think the video game industry is something like 10 times bigger than movies as far as money and customers. It's like 10 times bigger. So I don't know, man. It's interesting.
I don't know, friends. All I'm going to say is time will tell. We'll be here to react to the video when it's out for the trailer. And I'll go see it. I'm not even necessarily the biggest movie person, if I'm honest. I will go see it, and I will be as honest as possible. You know what? If Nintendo wants to bring me out to the red carpet, that works too. That's fine too. I will not object, Nintendo. My mind's everywhere. This just feels like an April Fool's joke. It really does. I remember 2008.
Yeah, that's when it was. There was a Netflix series that got rumored and it was crazy. It like blew up.
How we all felt about that. The excitement of, oh my gosh, we're finally getting something. But then the more you watch it, you're like, wait a minute, this is probably not it. And then you find out it's, you know, April 1st and you're like, oh, thank God. But also my heart. I'm a little bit right now. I'm a little bit like that. And it's not April Fool's. So I just gotta deal with this. Yeah. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, we're a huge Zelda channel here. Zelda has been so many things to so many of us growing up. And to say it's absolutely okay to be incredibly skeptical if you are like I am. And it's also incredibly okay to be excited. Unlike me. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. Telling myself I'm excited. But I'm also curious. Probably.
I don't know. She doesn't seem that excited to me. I think it's kind of interesting. Zelda fans having a reaction to it. And, you know, it's probably just a different thing for them, right? Because it's a lot like Warhammer. When I got into Warhammer, I found it to be pretty interesting that like a lot of the Warhammer fans actually weren't super keen on like Hollywood being involved at all. And I can't necessarily blame them. I mean, Hollywood sucks. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, do we really want, you know, our baby to be in the hands of these Hollywood people? And I can't really blame people that don't, you know, kind of makes sense to me. I will tell you, I think that world and that lore is rich. I think there's a ton of things they could do. Even just the music is iconic. Some of the weapons, the design is iconic. It obviously comes with a large fan base. You know, we went and watched last night. I watched the live action Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell. Way better than I remember. There was a bunch of controversy around that movie when it first came out. But I actually thought it was pretty cool. And I bring that up because A.V. Arad was a big producer on that movie. And, you know, you say what you will for Arad. He's done some boneheaded things. He's done some wild things. But I think he does at some level understand Hollywood audiences, like movie audiences. And I found that movie to be pretty enjoyable and like not a bad adaptation. So... And then, you know, you have Wes Ball, who's done some really good stuff. I like the Maze Runner movies. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but I like the Maze Runner movies. And seems like he's really passionate about Zelda. There's a tweet that I retweeted, many people retweeted from years ago, where he was talking about doing the Avatar thing as in, I think he was talking about the Blue People movie, but maybe not. Let's see. Doing the Avatar thing, but doing it with Zelda. Let me see here. Yeah, so he says here, since I could never even hope to have the chance to direct it, the next big mocap Avatar-like movie should be Legend of Zelda. This was in 2010, and people found it and went back and are blowing it up right now. So this is something he's been passionate about for a long time. Maybe he's got a really great pitch. Maybe that's just how they arrived at him. And yeah, pretty wild stuff for sure. So I'm excited, but also A.V. Arad, that's questionable. Hollywood in general, questionable. It's kind of interesting. Okay, let's get into the Q's and the A's. I'll start going over the super chats and then we're gonna call it because it's been a damn long stream. I like these long streams, I like it, but I also am trying to get a video out today that I got to go edit and stuff. So let's fly through these. Toxic says, "Let the rage flow through you, Josh." LMFAO, thanks, brother. Matthew Griffith said, "Desperately need a Halo movie that respects the games." That would be cool. Peter Jackson was close, man. Apparently, I heard that a big part of why the Halo movie fell apart was and I don't even have the cord for my other camera in here, man. Oh boy. Let's see here. What should I check what image it even is? I know I've got some images here. Let's see. What is this image? Oh no, we don't want that one. Here, actually, I'll find a nice image. I'll find a placeholder for us, okay? Just relax. Just relax, everybody. I'll find a good one. Oh no. I don't have any good ones. All right, there it is. Okay, guys, you can do the rest of the stream like this. Okay, so you at least you have a picture of my beautiful face as we keep going through this. Okay, so I had heard that the reason the reason it didn't work is because apparently Microsoft was like really pushy with it. They really wanted to be involved, and that just wasn't whatever Paramount or whatever. They just weren't feeling it. So it's kind of interesting. Huh? Chillin says, as long as AVA Rad listens to Miyamoto, sorry if I fooked up the name, I think Zelda will be fine. Also, you think Feige was lying when he said his Star Wars movie isn't happening, from Daniel RPK? Lying? Maybe not. Definitely not telling us what's actually going on. 1000% yes. I mean, just look at the body language. Look at what was going on with that. Look at how he smiled at her and said thank you afterwards. That's not a question he wanted to answer. I think it is true that his Star Wars movie, the one that he had referred to in the past, is not happening. But that's probably because they're all going to be his Star Wars movies after he takes over. That's my opinion. We'll see. Cole says Ghostbusters trailer is out. All right, bro. Colby Dog, just welcome back. Watch Those Wrist Rockets says, if Superman Legacy flops, what happens? Well, I would assume Gunn would get fired, and they'll probably just reboot again, because I do think Universal is going to end up buying Warner Brothers. So... yeah, I mean, that would be very bad for them. The current version of that movie was supposed to involve a conflict in the Middle East, and I'm just sitting there like looking at real life and thinking, James, you should probably rewrite that, bro, because that's not going to play well. George Carlos says, please, no spoilers in chat. Yeah, sorry, man. Space Trick Cereal with a 10 spot, very generous. Says, not gonna lie, I'm a normie. I've never heard about Invincible until he talked about it. Watched it all up to season 2, episode 1 in a day. Holy shit, it's amazing. I'm so hooked, but for real, I'd join Omni-Man, do that superhero Sith pose shit. Yeah, for sure, man. It's a great series. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jeff says, I know how to fix Captain Marvel. Make the character Marvel and get rid of this female bullshit. Sorry, not sorry. Well, that's a take. That's a take, Jeff. I think they could have probably just, made a better story. You can still have the ladies doing their thing. I mean, I just watched Sucker Punch the other night, right? And like, dude, it is super female centric. Like, it's so female focused. The story, the plots, the details, the characters. There's certain shots in that movie that's literally just all women. And yet it's dope as hell. It's a fun story. And by the way, they also look sexy. Look at these costumes they made for the Marvels. Like, what is this? Some kind of like asexual, weird 1984 bullshit reality? It's crazy. When did we start thinking that strong females or strong people can't be sexy? Holy shit. I've always thought sexiness and the female form was a part of the pride. You know what I mean? Like, what happened? Space Trick Cereal says, also, do you think Jason Senderla will be Darth Kaitis like Jason Solo? It's a powerful name. Seeing Marvels tomorrow. Girlfriend is making me. Wish me luck. Oh, you'll be fine, bro. You'll be fine. And I actually do like that. I do like that with Jason. Give him some extra stuff. Absolutely. Toxic says, hey, bro, you see Feige directly confirmed last night his Star Wars movie canceled. I believe we knew that, right? Or is this news? Oh, it's news. I think especially considering the way he answered the question, it's like, whoa. because he did not want to talk about that shit. Benjamin says, keep up the great work, homie. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. C Black says, just my opinion, the Variety article was BS. Listen to Coy. Got a lot of respect for that guy. Yeah, I like Coy. Look, at the end of the day, here's the thing. The article says things, but then narrative spins out of it. And what I think might be going on a lot of the time is certain people they're not debunking the article. They're debunking the narrative that spins out of the article, which I can appreciate. But I also think it's a weird game that some people play where they're not going to pull that distinction. They don't want to actually get in the weeds with you and go beat for beat and talk about real facts. They want to play an emotional argument game and defend a narrative. It's like we talked about this Friday. We talked about it a little bit on Monday. That's just how I see it. Hey, by the way, you think the Variety article's BS? That's cool. I don't hate you. Like, that's fine. I disagree. Aaliyah says, I love musicals. Yet when I first heard Xena and Buffy would have musical episodes, I was on the fence. But they ended up being really good. So I will wait and see. Yeah, totally fair play to you. I'm trying to think if there was ever a musical movie. Oh, man, what's the Hugh Jackman one? What's the Hugh Jackman one? Greatest Showman, I think. Incredible movie. Incredible movie. And it's a musical. So yeah, it can work. It can work. I like actual musicals. I just don't like movies that are musicals, you know? It's not my thing. Victor says, Real Rejects released their reveal. There's a lot of R's in that statement you put, but thank you, brother. And we did watch it. Ramtack Holster says, Christian Harloff out of the theater review was bad. It was, and we watched it. Crazy. Haunted Autumn says, this is the best review Greg has ever done. I mean, yo, he was cooking, man. He was cooking. Talented Mr. Griffin says, Feige rumor is real. The convo probably happened 4 years ago. Execs wanted to see what would happen without Feige, thus Phase 4. You know what? That's actually a really interesting point. I had never considered that the lack of Feige in Phase 4 was done intentionally to see as a test run what that would be like without him actually being there. That's interesting, man. Elisa says, not going to lie, this review kind of makes me rethink wanting to watch the Marvels. Guys, chat. Did the reviews make you not want to go see the movie? Let's go to the polls. Let's go to the polls. I'd love to know what you guys think about that. I'm going, but I don't really want to. Haunted Autumn says, well, the Marvels did one positive thing. This has been the best review watch party in a long time. That's true. We had a lot of fun, huh? It was a fun stream. Dat Boy, thanks for the little fox sticker. That's cool. C-Dub says, with the 10 spot, really appreciate it. Says, it's feeling like the lead up to Jan 6, except towards Disney. We've got South Park, Ben Shapiro, Theory, and now Greg, Dan, and Jeremy joining the ranks. We are in the bizarro world. Take my money. Yeah, but like, the thing is, like, and I saw some people in chat, you know, I wasn't going to really shine a light on it too much, but I saw some people literally being like, since when did Dan Murrell become Ryan Kinnell? And it's like, bro, I get people feeling that way, but it's the most frustrating thing that I have to deal with on YouTube is like, you guys literally put people into buckets. Like, it's so shameful. Like, people put people in buckets and they're like, if you don't like this thing, if you're being toxic about this thing, oh, you're just like this other person over here. Yeah, I mean, it's a joke, but it's a shit-ass joke, bro, for real. Like, it evokes for me one of the worst things about the internet. This reductive, tribal, brain-dead way of thinking about things. Like, I get the most frustrated by that. Because, like, when that starts to happen in your self-policing actual, like, conversation and speech, it's like we're really headed towards some 1984 shit. Like, it's just like, it's so gross to me. What you're seeing now is the result of a corporation making boneheaded decision after boneheaded decision, and then trying to deflect some of fair criticism into political, like self-righteousness and virtue signaling and all these other things, man. It is a very gross path that we have been on. And it's like, bro, if you really think that just everybody's turning on them and it's like everybody's just being toxic and all that's, like, you're missing the forest for the trees, my friend. Like, shit is that bad. So yeah. Mike says, have you seen the new Ghostbusters trailer? Nah, man, I'm not really a Ghostbuster person. Big Guarana says, is this thing working? Why won't any of my messages get through in the free milestones chat if I mention AI? I have no idea what you're talking about, brother. Dayton says, a lot of people wanted Studio Ghibli to make a Zelda movie. Ooh, that would have been good, man. I like that. Meister says, can't believe stream is still going. Watching the replay. Hell yeah, man. It was a good one. Hope you enjoy. Polluted Finn says, just got home from the Marvels. Wasn't the worst. Low expectations helped. There you go. There you go. Did you ever watch the Dragon Ball Daima trailer? Yeah, I watched it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Cole says, just seen the full post-credit scene on YouTube. Very hyped. Yeah, no, it is cool. Dirt Wizard says with the 10 spot, a Star Wars retcon through Abeloth would help the sequels, but I think they would still need to bring a real Skywalker back for future stuff. A Palpatine winning is lame. I agree with you, and I think it's got to be Ben Solo, but I still think that could be helped by Abeloth. Rahul says, Josh, imagine if Deadpool 3 wasn't on the calendar. MCU would be dead. LMAO, Echo, Ironheart, Thunderbolts would be the lineup. Yeah, it's a little bit sad. I do think Captain America 4 actually has a good chance to be pretty cool. Chillin' in the Basement says, when the trades reported Star Wars was going full Gilroy, Disney had it taken down same day because it was BS. Varieties is still up. Just saying. I mean, that is an absolutely fair point. It also points to the reality of Marvel wanting that article to be out there. Space Trick Serial says, why is Donald alive in season 2 of Invincible? There is no good reason for that, at least not that I know of. They probably just messed it up. What did Dan and Dave say that one famous time when they were talking about how Daenerys just forgot about the Iron Fleet? They were like, oh, yeah, no, she just kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. So that's why her dragons get shot. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, I turned the camera on. You guys are like, oh, it doesn't look any different to us. Screw you. Okay, guys, I've got to get out of here. It's a damn near 3-hour stream. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Smash a like on it if you're watching on the replay. If you made it this long in the video, smash a like on it. Make sure you do a subscribe. Consider becoming a member. It's real chill. We take care of our members, man. It's good stuff, okay? All right. Love you guys. Talk to you real soon. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? You're not all gone. Okay? You're not all gone. Everybody didn't leave. Look at that. It's like almost goddamn 900 of you still in here, man. What the fuck? Get out of here. Get out of here. I know, I gotta do the gift card drawing. I'll do the gift card drawing on Friday. Look, the stream got out of hand. Okay, I didn't realize. The stream got out of hand. I was losing my mind over here watching these negative reviews about the Marvels. Look at this fucking dumbass. Can we get some toast? I swear to God, dude. Don't worry about Rotten Tomatoes score for the Marvels when most of negative reviews are just grifting like this one. LMFAO. Anonymous scooper accounts were a mistake. They are a cancer on this fandom. Holy shit. Fucking toast. Probably some 15-year-old kid, executive kid, Hollywood kid, doesn't know shit about the world. All right, let's pull it back. Let's reel it in. Let's reel it in. Okay. Remember, as I always say, open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butt. Ah!